Hey everybody, welcome back to HitPoint, an anime news show, a niche news show, a show where Baku and I will talk about anything and everything that catches our interest and or ire. A show where I have a working microphone at the beginning of the stream. We broadcast live every single Sunday at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We'll be previewing some trailers, talking about some cool news that has occurred over the last few days, and we're also gonna listen to a voicemail. We got some pretty cool stuff lined up.
What?
We got some pretty cool stuff lined up, guys. Welcome back, Baku. It's good to see you again. How are you doing today? Good,
We
sir.
actually have a voicemail?
I know, right? We
Amazing.
actually, I didn't mean to spoil it. I just got too excited. I had to spill the beans at the start.
I welcome it. Thank you so much, guys, for sending us stuff. I'm doing pretty good, man. It's been a great week. I caught up with some of my anime shows. I'm feeling pretty good. How have you? I done goofed. I was telling Derek in the pre-show that I might have been watching anime since 11 p.m. The day before because I couldn't sleep until maybe 8 9 a.m. the next day. So I was sitting there watching anime for about 12 hours or so.
So you're a
less than
proper
12 hours.
degenerate, I see.
Oh
Well,
yeah, obviously.
yeah, I can tell because you also just, just prior to the stream, sorry for the delay. If you might have noticed that we were almost a little bit late there because just prior to this, Baku was sharing with me a piece of culture, an uwu copy pasta that somebody read out loud, and I was so enamored, and I was explaining to Baku that I feel like my life has suddenly changed in a way that it cannot be unchanged. So I'm still recovering from that, but otherwise, you're doing pretty good.
I got it. I got it. That's the uwu magic that I was sharing with Derek.
Uh,
You can't enter the the weepdom without seeing things like this. That's part of the fun.
that's right. Oh
Yes.
man, yep. That is now part of my mind. That's
Can't.
the thing. There is probably something important those neurons could have held within my brain that now they're busy holding that.
Surely you just nothing's more important than this.
Well, hey, before we go way off further into the weeds, I did want to provide a brief explanation for our absence last week for those who are listening through the various podcasting platforms out there. Last week, Baku and I did not take off the week. We actually had a live showcase rounding up. Oh man, some incredible games. 57 games from 13 different showcases. But it was very trailer heavy and just would not have lent itself well to an audio only format. So if you are a listener of the podcast through Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anything, maybe if you're you missed it, maybe go check out the really cool roundup because there was so many cool things that we talked about that week. Man, have you recovered from that? Is that why you couldn't sleep?
Oh no, that's just me being a degenerate.
Oh, okay.
That's,
Well,
it's simple.
that fair enough. Fair enough. So we have a few comments from last week that we'll probably want to round up, but I will point out the phone number at the bottom of your screen now, 785-337-3805. You can call us, you could leave us a voicemail, or you could email us hitpoint@superdarkrpgs.com, and we'll play it on the air like we will in a moment. But before we get to that voicemail, here's a comment from actually a couple of weeks ago because we kind of skipped over the comments section, responding to comments from the last showcase video because that was kind of an alternate sort of stream, very very out of the normal. So anyways, this one comes from the Ninja Mouse, who says that a PlayStation YouTuber recently shared a graph from a PlayStation financial report that showed live service games accounted for like 51 to 53% of the PlayStation revenue for the last 3 years. The other half was basically everything else, presumably including traditional single player RPGs. They said they wouldn't be surprised if if this division applies to
Mhm.
gaming audiences more broadly, and that's a pretty interesting thing. Baku, did you want to respond to that because you actually did some research?
Oh yeah. So I did look into it. I don't know. I couldn't find a YouTuber in question, but I was looking at like Sony's own like record. So there's no like PlayStation financial record.
Mm-hmm.
Because Sony is the company. So Sony releases financial records based on all of their like all of their divisions, if you will.
Yeah.
And then there's like the gaming sort of like division where PlayStation falls under. Um, the thing that I couldn't find is any mentioning of live service specifically from Sony, or
Okay.
like not in their financial records and not in their presentation slides. What I did find is something called game and network services, which may have been misconstrued as live service. Now, I don't I don't do anything live service. Like I don't play games that are like gotcha or like FPS. I don't do any of that. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
know.
Yeah.
But when I think about Sony as a platform, as a business, they don't really capture revenue from like a live service. That's what the game company do.
Yeah.
So I would be very surprised if they captured 50% of their revenue, not yeah, so revenue, not profit, revenue
Yeah.
from live service. Network service, okay, because that would include your PSN subscription. Like I
Oh,
would,
yeah.
yeah, so that would include PSN. Live service is a harder thing for them as a platform to capture. Like, what kind of money would they make from a live service game? Because it's not their game. It's like, say for example, you're playing GTA. That's
That is
Rockstar.
true. Yeah.
Yeah. So what would PlayStation or by extension Sony be capturing?
Oh,
They
maybe
provide the network, yeah,
like a
but
like a like a cut of the sales and transactions, maybe. I mean,
you
Apple does
know
that,
the
but
cut making 50% would be insane.
that would be pretty outrageous for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, not including, and that wouldn't include your PSN like subscription and
Yeah.
any kind of like network service like sales. So I don't know. I'm a little skeptical about the live service number, but if you have any original source, I appreciate it. I can take a look and I can try to see what I can glean from it. I love reading stuff like this anyway. So it wasn't uh, yeah, I like reading. I like reading financial records. It's a weird it's a weird hobby. Yes.
that is an interesting hobby for sure.
Oh
You,
yeah,
I
I
mean,
like playing games, watching anime, and reading financial records. Okay, maybe not up there, but I don't mind reading through financial
in
records.
that
Yeah,
order.
yeah, in that order.
We got another one here from Bombs Away who says, I see comments all the time that say that gaming is in a horrible state. But if you go back 15 years, games were pretty janky on a whole compared to now. A lot of people have their rose tinted glasses on right now, but won't take them off to try playing new games themselves. Great episodes tonight, though there were quite a few games I'm looking forward to from the state of play.
Oh, that's right. We did the state of play and the marvelous showcase
That was 2 weeks
before.
ago. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Maybe next time we should just hold off on covering any showcases until they're all done, and then just have like a 15-hour long just showcase stream like that again. No, no,
No.
okay, okay, maybe not. Um, but yeah, it is pretty interesting. You would mention that there bombs away because that was like the late PlayStation 3 era. I feel like by late PlayStation 3 things were turning around somewhat,
Mhm.
but early PlayStation 3, like 2006-ish, things were really rough.
No one knew
Um,
how to develop for PS3. they know it's powerful. They know it's the next big thing. There is a
Hmm.
huge install base
Yep.
because of the DVD capability, and
And
people loved it. Consumer loved it. Game
and
developers
very
hated
few
it.
and very few developers made RPGs for Nintendo Wii, which is kind of also
Yes.
of that era. Um,
Yes.
so what we so for a while there, the Xbox 360 actually looked like a very viable console for RPG fans because it had like Blue Dragon and Lost Odyssey, and then like you look over at the PlayStation 3 and it's got like, gosh, back in the day, what was it? There was Folklore or something like that. I no, was it Folklore? Was that the
Mm-mm.
JRPG that was early PlayStation 3? I There wasn't a whole lot um in the early PlayStation 3 era that I felt really inspired by. And then Final Fantasy came out, Final Fantasy 13, and like a lot of people were just kind of like, ooh, I don't know. Eventually developers did start putting more stuff on. Oh yeah, that was the other thing. Xbox 360 also had um that musical based one for a long time that was exclusive to the 360. It eventually came out for PS3 in the West, but there was some for some reason it didn't. Eternal Sonata, that was the one. Came out
Um,
originally exclusively on 360, but eventually we got it on
Made
PS3
on
in the West.
PS3. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, there was a lot of like, I don't know. It, I feel like that was also the start of
Mhm.
when a lot of developers started taking a really long time to develop games, like a
Yes.
really long time.
Yes.
Um, so, but yeah, things were certainly jank in the early portion of that console generation for sure. Oh man.
Yeah, the PS3 architecture, the cell, I think it's like cell architecture. It's
Oh yeah.
weird. It's
Oh yeah.
weird.
It
So
was and
developing games on it was a super steep learning curve.
Yeah, it had an 8-core processor. Well, in 2006, like what were I mean, we can barely utilize 8 cores today for like a lot. Well, I mean, maybe not so much today, but like even 5 years ago, it was
Hmm.
hard to see and find things that it wasn't until maybe Ryzen just made a plethora of cores available
Hmm.
to, everybody, basically to the
Yeah.
masses, that then programs were starting to be like, okay, yeah, maybe we'll leverage these.
Hmm.
um
Yeah.
so like 8-core processing for a console is just nuts from 2006.
Yeah. And most people bought it to watch DVDs.
Blu-ray.
Oh, Blu-ray. Sorry, I
Yeah.
keep saying DVD. I meant Blu-ray. Yeah, it was a cheap Blu-ray player that everyone hopped on, and they
Well,
loved the media
cheap,
center idea.
cheap,
Well,
air quotes.
relatively at the
$600.
time.
$600, man. That was
Relatively at the
that was a
time.
that was a
Yeah.
big ask. And that was $2006. That'd be like $1,000 today.
Yeah, people and them complaining about well, it also plays DVD, so there's that, but
It does
still,
it
no, they
did.
they, they
It
got it
did.
for the Blu-ray. They're like, oh yeah, it's like a media center. It's supposed to do everything for you. It's supposed to like centralize your entire
Oh yeah,
thing, even
it
if you
did.
don't play games,
Dude,
right? So
it
yeah.
totally did because I played PlayStation 3. I used PS3 DLNA. Basically, I used it to stream my legitimately acquired content from the other room when I was
Mm-hmm.
living in another like apartment, years ago.
Mm-hmm.
It was a it was a pretty sweet investment. It also played PlayStation 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
The one that I got did.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I loved my little PlayStation 3, but I'm so afraid to touch it now. Like I'm afraid if I'm gonna look at it wrong, it's just gonna like,
Never work again.
yellow light of death or something. Yeah. So just like it's there for me to look at and be like,
And
yes.
just admire from a
Yep.
distance.
Exactly.
I understand that feel.
All right, we got one more here from Emulation Emperor, who says, I didn't have much of a comment for this, but I did laugh pretty good at it. They
Mhm.
said, in quotes, I swear I don't care about graphics. Gameplay above all else, and a nice art style is appreciated. And then Expedition 33 arrives. Okay, maybe I do want a damn good looking game. Pretty much
I
nailed it
love
there.
it. I laughed really hard when I saw it. Thank you so much for making my Monday a little better. There. I,
100%.
yeah, I love funny comments. Especially because I'm reading them Monday morning, you know, and I don't want to when I don't want to work. And I'm like, oh, this is nice. So thank you for that. Yeah, you know, we'll never say no to great graphics and great aesthetics. Just, you know, maybe don't put 80% of your game funding on it because it's not worth that much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe like 30-40%
I mean,
max. Just put
honestly,
more money on everything else, please.
one of the things about Obscure, Claire Obscure, Expedition 33 is that it, it's kind of Western style graphics. Because I mean,
Hmm.
when I say that, I mean like Western RPG style graphics. What do I mean by that?
Aesthetics.
Aesthetics.
Aesthetics. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's the
yeah.
aesthetics. Yeah.
It feels like we don't get very many turn-based RPGs that don't look like anime. Um,
Yeah.
you
And
know,
I welcome it,
and
you know? Like,
even Final Fantasy, like the new one, like it's gorgeous, right? Final Fantasy 16
mhm.
looks beautiful. It still looks like it's definitely got some roots in like anime aesthetics, though.
Mhm. Oh, yeah. Well, Square Enix, of course.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah. I
yeah.
mean, but like to see something that just eschews it all together, but still embraces the turn-based role-playing game
Mhm.
style. That's cool.
I feel like Expedition 33 in some way is kind of like the antithesis to like a Tales game.
Yeah, I could see that.
Action, super anime, uh Japan to the core, and then you get this, which is like Western aesthetics,
Yeah,
turn-based. Yeah.
it was really interesting. I perused their website where they referred to it as an evolution to the Japanese RPG, and I thought that was like a really interesting way to phrase it because
Quite a bold statement,
that's
actually.
exactly what I said. That
Yeah.
is, but but if you dissect that a little further,
Mhm.
because this is a French studio
Mhm.
that probably has, I don't know if they have a different perspective of evolution that than we do here typically in the United States.
Mhm.
But the use of the word an evolution to my
Mhm.
eye kind of felt like they were saying this is like a adaptation. This is
Mhm.
one direction that the JRPG could evolve to.
Yeah.
Not the evolution
Mhm.
of a Japanese
Well,
RPG,
you have
but it
to
was,
read it in French, you see.
oh yeah, got to get that
So,
original
yeah.
source.
Yeah, so you gotta either make a French friend or learn French, whichever easier.
Well, I think we've both established here, Baku, that we're both relatively fluent speakers of French. If you catch my drift.
I feel like we can speak really good French. I just don't know if we can read it very well. So,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, yeah.
I'm fluent in spoken French for sure.
Oh, absolutely. Um,
Absolutely.
but yeah, I'm very excited to see where they go with this game.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
and it's not just the visuals, it's kind of a lot of things that they're doing that have kind of culminated in like this is weird.
Yeah, no,
This
the
is not the typical,
mhm.
JRPG, but it's caught my interest for sure.
Backstory seems like the worldview is very intriguing. It's just more than just the looks. Like the way they explain the story has got me hooked. I'm like, I want to know what happens next. Like
And
I'm literally hooked on it. So please, I need more.
and what's also interesting about this studio, and we talked very briefly about this over Discord, but like
Hmm.
this is the third, or is it the fourth? The third French-made Japanese RPG, or
Hmm.
Japanese style RPG rather,
Yeah,
that like we're excited about because there
yeah.
was like what was the one?
Elzara,
Alzara, yes, there was
yeah, yeah.
Alzara, there was
Hmm.
this one, there was
Another one,
Hell something.
hell
uh
something.
I,
The
I
one
was,
with the sins and the twins and all that. Yeah.
yes. Hell,
Helion, something Helion.
uh
You
uh
can, yes.
I'm looking for it now because I wanted to talk about it today because I was like excited. Lost Helden. I
Lost
wanted to talk
Helden,
about
okay.
Lost Helden today, but then
Mhm.
Baku's like, we talked about that 2 weeks ago, right?
We did. We did.
And I was like, what do you mean? We totally did. And then I went back to our episode and made sure that we actually did talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
I must have been really tired.
Oh yeah. I think I remember saying something along the lines of like there are these like questions where like, hey, which if you can live in any game world, if you can isekai there, which one would you go to? I'm
Oh
like, yeah,
no.
this is not
That's
one of
right.
them. This is
Yeah. But
yeah.
anyways, I should mention Lost Helden did get a brand new trailer. We're not gonna go over it today because it's like a 3 minute long trailer. But
Hmm.
dudes, go check it out. It looks really nice. I
It
am
got a
excited
lot more
about it.
fluid. I
Yeah.
remember saying like the battle feels a little choppy, the one that we watched, but then I
Yeah.
think that in the new trailer it's smoothed out. So good job. Like they're improving. So
Yeah.
I'm excited.
All right. Let's go ahead and listen to that voicemail that we got today.
All
And
right.
yeah, let's give it a go.
Love
Hey, I love
voicemail.
HitPoint. You guys are great. You keep me company. I really appreciate it. I had a question. Do you ever think about the fact that while leveling up, you will eventually reach a level that is enough to beat the game? Does that
Mhm.
stop you from wanting to finish the game? Because it does me. I don't find the writing in video games as strong as in novels or as
Mhm.
concise as in a movie. So the story loses me most of the time. And I know through sheer numbers I can win and beat the game, so I end up not finishing it. Thanks. You guys are great. Love Hit Point. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank
That's
you
an
so much.
interesting perspective.
Yeah, I know that it's a very common problem that people run into when playing RPGs is
Mhm.
kind of like petering out towards the end of the game. And a lot of times when that would happen to me, I would attribute that to like not wanting the story to end or not wanting this adventure to come to its conclusion.
Mhm.
Or, and then I just put it up on a shelf and be like, oh, I'll finish it some other time, enjoy it later, and then I'll forget about it. And then 3 years go by, and I'm like, oh yeah, I never did finish that game. So like, I feel like that's pretty common, but
Mhm.
as far as this specific one, I don't know too much about that firsthand. That's not something that personally affects me too much.
Mhm.
Um, I, eh, what about you, Baku? Does this ever enter your thought here?
No, that's never entered my thoughts. I mean, first of all, I don't go out of the way to over level,
Oh, I
especially
do.
late game.
I do, 100%.
Yeah, I don't bother because I don't have time. So I kind of push through.
I don't have
Um,
time either, but I do anyway, and that's why I'm still playing Lufia 2.
oh my god. Yeah, I don't find grinding fun. Now there are some games where the this is like the opposite of a difficulty spike, right?
Yeah.
Like difficulty spike is in the regular course of playing a game, the scaling is done in a way that's poor and in such that the enemies are way too hard for your given well what most people's level should be kind of thing. So the
Yeah.
opposite problem of like well it got too easy towards the end.
Hmm.
This is why I like Octopath Traveler, like
I was gonna
True
say
Boss a
that.
lot.
Oh, don't you can't just drop that word without.
The True Boss.
No, you said it again. You're God, people. Okay, it's been several years. It's almost been 10
I
years.
think it's
How long
long
has it been?
enough. I think it's long enough.
Okay, all right,
We're
sure. You
past
can.
the statute of limitation
The
at this
statute
point. Of
yeah.
spoiler limitation. Yeah, whatever. But basically, I mean, I won't go tell you what boss or what's the
Oh no, no,
circumstances,
no.
but it
Of
was a
course,
really difficult boss, and uh,
dude.
you know,
It kicked my butt so hard. And it like extended the duration of that game significantly. Cause like I it was at that point I was like, okay, I'm gonna need to figure out what's going on with these unlockable job classes, which turned into
oh
like tracking
no,
down a bunch of like other super bosses leading into it.
oh no,
Oh yeah.
you didn't do the secret jobs and stuff before. Oh well, that
I
that
mean,
explains a lot.
I did them eventually, but
Yeah.
yeah, I got smacked down pretty good.
One
Uh,
one of our Twitch streamer friend spent 12 hours on her first attempt. She just kept going, like, and it was like a war of attrition, and she wasn't getting anywhere in 12 hours, and she finally gave up, and then come back like another day to finish it. But yeah, she streamed for 12 hours trying to fight that boss.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so yeah, I
so you're
respect
saying
it.
that
Yeah.
this game, Octopath Traveler 2, is, the cure for what ails you, my friend. But
Potential cure, yeah.
potentially,
Potential cure.
potentially.
Uh,
Except you might over level, in your preparations. So don't do that. But here's the thing, like
mhm.
I when I pick up an RPG, victory in my eyes is already a foregone conclusion. When I decide to play a game, it's already beaten. I just haven't done it yet. But that's how it is. Like so when I take that perspective, like the idea of being too strong or strong enough to defeat the boss, like I was strong enough to defeat the boss when I picked the controller up, you know? And I'm not saying that to be like, cocky, even though it kind of sounds that way, but I know that I've got it in me to beat the game. So like for me, the driving force, yeah.
Confidence.
I have in my day, I have beaten over 100 RPGs. I mean,
And
that's
it's not a baseless confidence. Like you have beaten so many. You have a historical record. You know that this is beatable. Like it's not a
Oh, yeah.
if or whatnot. Like you know it.
yeah. So I mean, getting to that point where I'm at that strength level that I would need to defeat a boss, it doesn't really weigh on me so much. It's and in my opinion, like that's one of the things I actually really enjoy about certain kinds of RPGs is that they allow you to leverage their systems in such a way that you can absolutely break a game. Trails is one of my favorite series of games that allow you to do that. I mean, it's one of my favorites in general right now. I think I can say that at this point. I've invested enough time in the Trails series that if I didn't say it was one of my favorites, that would be a significant waste of time. And
Yeah.
so anyway, and
Well,
you
the
can
other
really
thing-
leverage that.
The other thing that I personally don't necessarily subscribe to is the belief that like game story is inferior to novel and movies.
It depends on
So-
the game and it depends on the
it
novel.
depends on the game, but
And
then
the
it also
novel.
depends on the book and depends on the movie. So
Yeah.
it's
Oh, yeah.
like if you're
So it's a
if
really big
you're-
statement.
Yeah, so if you're comparing like the best movie to the worst games, then sure. But tier for tier, I don't think
Well,
games lose
so-
out.
So what for a movie they were comparing it to the brevity of being able to tell a condensed story.
Mhm.
And I'm actually working on I'm working on a video talking about nice and condensed games that
Yeah.
I think actually do deliver a really interesting and unique experience comparable to movies in some ways.
Especially indies.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about them.
We should
later.
talk about that. Yes. And on another day, maybe after you release your video, we can talk more about it because I have some thoughts on the general direction of where indies is taking us. All the life factors that goes into monetary lifestyle, all kinds of factor kind of points to a certain direction that indies I think is going to take more significantly. Part of that is telling a concise story, basically what you're saying. So we'll talk more about it later. But
Yeah.
but what going back to what I was saying, I think in terms of like the quality of storytelling, it's like a single metric. If there is one, I don't think it loses out to other medium. If anything, I feel like games is a different kind of medium in a way that you interact with it, and that gives it an extra dimension that neither books nor movies can do, and it's up to game makers to use that to their advantage. It's so when it's telling a story, you don't just read a story or watch a story, you play a story, you interact with the story. That should give you that extra dimension that of enjoyment. And if it's not there, it's not the format's issue, it's how it's being utilized. That's the problem.
I could see that. So you're
Yeah.
saying it's not so much an issue with an RPG, or rather with RPGs, but more of an issue of the developers just not
Yeah.
reaching the player.
Yeah, you have not gotten involved, like you haven't gotten emotionally like or invested enough to want to see the conclusion, even if you
Oh
could
yeah,
just beat it. You know,
that's
like
that's the other thing. I guess I
yeah,
I also do get emotionally invested in things pretty easily. Which
yeah.
is, I guess it's a good problem to have. Um, but yeah, like we'll be watching. Amy and I will be watching. God, what were we watching? So we watched Fearin'. We've been watching a lot of Fearin' lately.
We were talking about this earlier. Yeah,
And something will happen and I'll get choked up and she looks over and she'd be like shut
Hey,
up, these are manly tears.
don't let her shame you. I get
Oh
choked up
no.
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
I mean,
Yeah.
she but she just doesn't get as emotionally invested as easily as I do. And it's like, okay, fine. I get that.
I feel like the older I got, the easier things get to me. Uh,
Right?
you know,
Is it
like I
not
feel
just
like I didn't used to be like this before. Like I
all
feel
right,
like I was
guys, let me know in the chat. Do you cry every time?
I tear up sometimes over like dumb stuff that I feel like isn't even worth like that emotional um
I know.
outpour, but then when I think about it and I'm just like, man, that's like very profound. Like I don't know, I'm like very touched by this. I don't know. Like,
Well,
I'll admit it.
all right.
Yeah.
Dang, I'm glad I'm not alone because that's
Oh,
like
you're not alone. You're
okay,
not alone. Yeah.
cool.
Thank you so much again for the voicemail. I do want to just add one more thing, and that is like, I don't take it like I'm saying like you're wrong. Like I don't
No.
think there's a right answer to all this. Like this is purely subjective, just personal experience
Hmm.
from one person to another.
And
Yeah.
perhaps just a difference in like how we approach different problems, like
Yeah.
because also if your driving force is the gameplay but then the gameplay aspect drops off in the tail end, that's a
Hmm.
bummer that I don't know
Oh
how to
yeah.
cope with because my driving force is the story in a lot of ways,
Hmm.
and the gameplay is kind of secondary in a lot of ways too. So like I'm not sure how I would want to see a game change in order to address that, especially
Yeah.
because I like hitting that thing where I can just, curb stomp a boss if I, have leveraged the systems well enough.
I like bosses that makes you think about a strategy to beat them.
That too.
I mean, Octopath did it really well if you really think about it. You have the regular story boss that you can absolutely stomp on, and then the true boss where it's fair but it's difficult. You
It
have
will
to
stop you.
figure it out.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's a puzzle on its own, not just not just a number game. I mean, number helps, sure,
Yeah.
but you still need to know what you're doing. Because I don't want to go into it, but let's just say that you can't simply overpower this boss without understanding the mechanics.
Yeah.
So
All right.
yeah,
Sorry, I know you were trying to like move us along to the next
yeah,
subject and
yeah,
I went in for seconds. So let's go ahead
no
and
worries,
move
no worries.
along
Hmm.
to some upcoming games this week.
Yay!
All right. So, to kick things off on
Mhm.
the 21st, we've got Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree expansion. Erdtree?
I
Erdtree?
feel like we've done that every time we see the word. We're like Edtree, Erdtree,
Er, er,
Erittree.
okay. Yes, it's the tree. Yes,
The tree,
the tree expansion.
the tree
Uh,
expansion.
so according to the game's developer, by the way, Hidetaka Miyazaki,
Director,
director. What did
director.
I say?
Yes, developer.
Oh,
Well,
director.
yeah,
Yeah.
director.
The expansion area, in terms of size, is about the size as Limgrave. I'm probably mispronouncing that too.
Yes,
If not larger,
if not larger. Yeah.
which is pretty crazy. And we also got a story trailer if you want to check that out.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's check it out.
Uh, yeah, I'm actually pretty excited about this because I want to play Elden Ring. I have the game. I played it a little bit. I keep getting murdered in the very first like what is it? Like
Nicola
the tree sentient, I think,
of the
or
beginning.
something, some kind of knight that I keep running into in the
By
very
the way,
beginning.
I'm sorry. This is I've seen this before, and this is gross.
A little gory.
It's not. It might be gory. I don't know. I
I
can't
don't
quite
know.
tell what it is.
I don't
But
know how to
An affair
describe it.
from
the whole like walking through barefoot though is like, I mean, that might be. Let's be real. That's a form of fan service for some people, I think. But that
For
just
some, I'm sure.
But that just like, I don't know, man, gives me this just the heebie-jeebies.
What followed was a war unseen.
I mean, think about it, Derek. Anything can be fan service if you try hard enough. It's true.
One that
Or
can
if you
never
aren't even trying. Let's be real. Some of y'all.
a purge without grace.
But
Something about that fire just gets my neurons going.
oh yeah,
Oh yeah.
The tyranny
No, but the
of
game is
restless
absolutely gorgeous.
flame.
Isn't it though?
Even the in-game. I mean, yeah, I know we're watching like cinematics right now, but like the in-game game, like world is very like it's dark, but it's also like beautiful, like in a very haunting kind of way. It's absolutely gorgeous world that they put together in Elden Ring. Wasn't like a famous writer involved with
Yeah.
Elden Ring too?
Yeah, the guy George R.R. Martin.
Yeah, the guy who did Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Song of Ice and Fire,
Song of
whatever.
Ice and Fire. Yeah.
And so
It's really-
kindly
it's
Nicola
really
would
cool.
abandon everything.
I think that's pretty sick. And I wonder if fans never get a conclusion to that book series, will this have made it
His
worth it?
golden flesh,
What if this is the
his
conclusion
blinding
somehow?
strength,
I doubt it.
even his
I suspect not.
Read 20 books. The conclusions in a video game. Good luck.
Instead
And
of
not just any game, like a notoriously difficult video game.
they choose to follow.
Get
all right,
good.
guys. I was gonna say,
Get good.
get good, book nerds.
Oh boy. Is there even a difficulty setting on this? I don't think so.
So it's like it's the opposite of like a read the manga ending.
I love that. I think they should do that more often, just to mess with people. But no, I don't think there's like a difficulty setting on Elden
Yeah.
Ring or any of the Soul S game. Like it's either you win or well
I mean,
you don't.
it depends. Like you could be a magic user or something.
Oh, does that make the game significantly easier? I don't know.
I mean, there's different play styles. I don't know.
I played as the naked person with the club.
Yeah.
I don't know what class that is, but the chat
Oh.
voted for it, and I had no choice to play it.
That's funny.
Oh.
Yeah, you should definitely give it a shot. I don't know how it compares to like Dark Souls or whatever, but I think that the original Dark Souls had some balance issues depending on like how you chose to play.
Mhm.
But you know, I think that it's as with all RPGs, there are ways to min-max your character to make them, you know, a little easier. So
okay.
yeah. All right. So anyways, yeah, that's coming out on the 21st here. So less than a week away.
Mhm.
And it's coming out on all supported platforms. If
Yay.
you're already a fan, you probably know where you can play it.
All right. Next up, we got a new indie puzzle exploration RPG, a mouthful from Thistlebro and I think Thistlebro and Fruit Bat Factory, and it's only coming in a couple of days. The game is called Thistlemine. Let's take a look at it as they explain what the game is like. I don't know if this is a game that might be interesting for
シスル
Mr.
マイン
Derek,
のゲー
but
ム要素は大きく分けると探索と戦闘の2つです。
Hmm.
排他区域の探索は容易ではありません。区域内の
If the whole
中に
game
は
looks
迷
like
路となって
this,
おり
no.
Mm,
攻略
I was
と
gonna
well,
say.
観察と実験が
I was gonna say
不可欠
maybe
です。
not, but let's see what the because
中には簡単なエリア
I don't
も
know.
あります。一目見ただけで攻略
I don't know if
方
you
法が
like
思いつくでしょう。
puzzles.
I am a puzzle
多くの
fan,
エリアはそれなりに難しい
which is interesting. I didn't realize that that's kind of a divisive subject. Did you know
理
that?
解するのに時間がかかる
No.
ギミックもある
Some
でしょう
people like hate puzzles in RPGs.
各迷路
I
を
like
攻略する
puzzles, I
と
hate
開
riddles.
拓駅の住人が待っています
I like
ここからは
both.
戦闘について紹
I
介します
absolutely hate riddles.
I'm a big fan of brain teasers. But yeah,
システムラインの戦闘
it's
は
weird
So
to me.
battle is extremely difficult in this game, apparently.
Really?
Like, every battle is its own puzzle.
Ah, I see.
が発生させる瘴気の影響で戦闘中のターン数に制限がありますさらに一つとして同じ戦闘は存在しないため各戦闘で異なる戦略が必要
Each encounter is wholly unique.
Okay, so it's not just like having scripted like encounters with random mobs, but it's like
Yeah.
these are like almost every fight is a boss fight.
Every fight is a boss. And you have to figure it out. And they expect you to die many times. And you just have to keep coming back. And so there you go. Maybe this is the kind of game that a caller should be playing, where you don't get to grind.
Yeah, maybe.
You don't get to just power through. Every single battle is basically a strategy. And if you lose, come back and try again.
I mean, if you'd asked me to take a look at that before, like I certainly would not have pegged that game as being like a particularly difficult game.
Mhm.
You know, like in a lineup, I'd be like, oh yeah, that's the cutesy game. That's, you know, for anybody. That, you know, approachable. No.
Japan does that. They like putting super cute arts next to things that are, you know, actually pretty dangerous. You know, like,
Yeah.
and anyone
that's-
who ever seen Madoka would understand that whole theory there. Super cute, but just watch episode 3 and on, and you'll get it. Anyways, this game is coming out in 2 days on PC only via Steam. So if that interests you, make sure to wishlist over on Steam.
All right. So, finally, the enhanced version of Shin Megami Tensei 5 is just around the corner. This version includes all DLC content from the original release, a whole unique storyline that you can select at the start of the game, so you don't have to play the original story over again if, you know, you were like me and played it on Switch already. You can just boot up, you know, the new campaign. It also has new characters and demons, and
Yeah.
and a trailer as well that we'll go ahead and check out here as well.
Yes.
You want revenge? Then I'll help you get it.
I'm kind of curious about because there were some things in the story that like I didn't like how the direction it went. So I wonder if this is like, is this going to be a way to get like a perfect ending, a better ending?
So
Who knows?
I kind of appreciate this approach in a way, because the alternative would have been like Persona 5 Royal, where they have to go
Yes.
into the original story, make a bunch of changes, and then give you like a royal ending, right?
Yeah.
I part of me like this approach where they don't mess with the original story at all for the people who like played the original and really liked it, and they're simply giving you a whole new story,
Just a
that-
new route
just
entirely.
different
Yeah.
route altogether.
And
Not
it
even
has
like, yeah,
and it has like a precedent for it in like Persona 1. The very first Persona 1 title that we ever got in the West was localized, and like half of the story was locked out. Like they just didn't localize one of the potential routes.
Oh,
Yeah, they just blocked it off.
Oh,
So like
wow.
it wasn't until the PSP version of the game that you could unlock the Snow Queen route, which is kind of like an alternate campaign entirely, kind of like this.
oh wow, going back to the roots. I see.
Yeah.
That's
So-
cool.
I can't even imagine what that must have been like to be, you know, in Japan and like actually experience that for the first time and be like just randomly coming across like a different route. Maybe you didn't even notice. Maybe you didn't even know you did, right? Until you like talk to your friend about it and you're like, hey, what did you do at this part? And they're like, what are you talking about? Turns out you're like playing two completely different games.
Yeah.
Oh man. So anyways, this game looks about the same as it did before to me. It's good. I really enjoyed Shin Megami Tensei 5, and I think that what in the heck is happening with
I
Watch
have
Together?
no idea.
It just keeps moving.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it
Anyways,
paused? Okay.
I think it's paused. Okay, cool. So anyways, yeah. The original was really fun, and it looks like they're gonna be, oh god, there was some crazy number of like small changes that they did to all of like the little mechanics. They have a detailed gameplay breakdown going over a bunch. It's really wild, and I think it'll make for a better experience overall. So I'm probably gonna give this a go at some point, and just talk about maybe the differences and how. I mean, I feel like everybody has kind of already done that video at this point, but I don't know. I haven't, and I'm gonna probably do one. Anyways, so yeah, this game is coming out on the 21st for all modern platforms. So check it out.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we had a bit of a debate. Well, not a debate, but a conversation, more like over in our Discord over this whole. I don't know if I want to call it like a phenomenon or maybe a new, the different kind of strategy from game developers and where they are effectively trying to like double dip on a game.
Yeah.
So like, obviously Royal is a good example. Another great example would be like DQ11S. That's like another example. Well, basically they'll come up with a base game. Okay.
Yeah.
And get you all riled up and excited, and then you all pre-order and play the game, and then you'll do what you will, and then like maybe as early as like a couple months to, in this case actually like about 3 years, 2 to 3 years later they'll come over like a definitive edition before even moving to like a new console generation.
Yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah.
and then they're like, oh yeah, we did this and we enhanced that, and this is and then we add some new stuff to it, and I feel like it's fine, right?
It stings
if
though,
you,
as an
it's
early
fine.
supporter.
It's fine if you give like the opportunity to buy the DLC for someone who owns the base game. Where I have issue with them is that that's not an option.
Yeah.
Like, for example, like if
this
I
one,
buy,
you have to buy it all over again.
right, if I buy the base DQ11 game, right, you're telling me that you can't give me the Japanese voice acting and like the little like improve things over a DLC. Okay, I don't know. I feel like
I think you should
I
give
feel
me an
like
upgrade option.
I feel like there should be an upgrade
at
option.
least like pay $15 for the
Sure,
updated
call
version.
it an expansion, right? Like I'll take it.
Yeah.
Like and who did pretty good with that? Capcom.
Yeah.
So Capcom had like the base Resident Evil 8 game, and then later on they had like a Resident Evil 8 like gold edition or something with like all the DLCs and stuff and all the expansion. But for anyone who owned the previous game, you can also just buy the DLCs and make your own like Go edition, if you will. It just
Yeah.
wouldn't be on a single disc, but at least they're available to you. You don't have to buy the full game all over again. We will have to pay for the expansion part, but I think that's fair because that's like a new addition, right?
Yeah.
So that's fine. I don't know. I just feel like not only is this like not a very good practice because your fan base is not going to be too happy with you, but I feel like you're training them to not buy the game when it comes out,
Oh yeah.
like over time.
This is certainly giving me reason to kind of regret buying the
Right.
collector's edition of Shin Megami Tensei 5 for Nintendo Switch. I'm looking at it right now and I'm just thinking, I don't like that anymore.
Yeah, it will still be valuable. There's enough hardcore SMT fans that
Eventually, maybe.
yeah.
But
it'll
I mean,
be, yeah.
but it's also like it's on my shelf now, and
Mhm.
it's not even the one that I would play if I would play it. It's like, why
What's
is this on
even
my
the point?
shelf? I don't know.
It's an art piece.
It does feel like it undercuts some of, yeah. It just it feels like I'm being undercut, and And when Shin Megami Tensei Persona 6 comes out, like I'll review it if I get a copy, because that's what I'll do. But am I gonna buy it?
Yeah.
I
I
don't
think
know.
I think the point of it being is if you're gonna come up with these new stuff, if you're not ready to make a new game, you have new things that you want to add, then just add it and just make it available for people.
Hmm. Yeah, it
That's
hurts.
what
It
I'm hoping
hurts.
for. Well, we'll see what game developers do. More importantly, I want to see how the gamers or how the consumers will react. Like if they keep this up, will it actually hurt their initial sales? Because as you know, like initial sale for a lot of games matters a lot
Yeah.
for different reasons. For marketing reasons and for just hype. It's like first, like box office weekend. It's like the same deal, right?
Yep.
So if you don't, and that's why they push for pre-orders, right? Like that's at least one of the reasons why they do it. But if I have a healthy expectation for to come up with a new game, let's say Unicorn Overlord, right?
Yeah.
They won't, but let's just say Unicorn Overlord, and then like 9 months to 2 years later, before switching to a new console, they're like, "Oh no, it's a Unicorn Overlord Plus." It's gonna sting. And then the
Yeah.
next game they come out, I'll be like, "Well, are you gonna do another Plus version? Because you're starting to establish a trend here,
Yeah.
Atlas."
Hmm.
Uh,
I mean, here's the thing. Like, part of me thinks they are watching, and that's why they're continuing to do it.
yeah.
I
Because
mean,
they think that you will buy it, you will buy it again, because and they will make twice the, I don't want to say twice the amount, it's not quite twice the amount because they are doing additional development and whatnot, but they are taking a second dip at
it
least.
it does
They're
feel
double
like a
dipping. Yeah.
financial decision of like, what would it cost us to develop a different game? What's
Hmm.
the cost to develop a definitive version?
Right.
And if and how many will we sell? And
Yeah.
if the answer is we will sell the same amount or close to, or if this costs, say, maybe it costs half as much as making a brand new game from scratch. If that's the case, they only have to sell half as many units to
Hmm.
be equal. But if they sell more than half as many, then it's,
it
there's some,
made it made sense.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So especially if they charge full price,
And I
and
think there lies the issue, right? If you look at it purely from like a revenue, like like return standpoint, then sure. But what they might, and this is why I was thinking about this, like what they may not be thinking about is what they're training the consumer behavior to be,
uh-huh.
just
And
the
what
fan
they're
base
losing,
behavior, yeah, and
and
what
what
they are losing later on,
and
yeah.
also in terms of just goodwill. We talked about
Oh
this
yeah,
with RGG,
with the fans, oh yeah.
we yeah, RGG Studio made some anti-consumer decisions that
Hmm.
cost them a lot of fan,
Oh yeah,
goodwill. And
for not a lot of gain either.
no, it was
Yeah,
weird. But
because yeah.
it's very weird. And this feels like it's even a more uh a more impactful issue, I think, than like putting New Game Plus behind a paywall. Like, this is,
Mhm.
you're putting the true ending behind a second purchase, a second like $60-$70 purchase.
Mhm.
Like, come on,
Yeah.
man. That's tough. It is
Yeah.
nice though that they at least acknowledge that, like, nobody wants to play through a game a whole second time to get to the good stuff. So
Mhm.
that it's nice that they added it as a second campaign. But
Yeah.
again, if you're just gonna do that, like, let me buy the second campaign.
Yeah, as a standalone maybe, or as a DLC somehow, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I'm shaking my head at it too, but
yep,
that is the state of being, and we can only observe where it goes from
yeah.
here. Yep.
All right, let's
All
move on
right.
to something, some happier news.
Oh yeah,
some
happier news.
some new stuff got announced.
Yes.
You want to tackle this
So,
first one, or what?
yeah,
Go for
happy
it.
news about a post-apocalyptic uh
Yay!
post-apocalyptic side-scrolling action adventure game. How's that for an upper and not a downer,
I
huh?
love it.
Uh, so this new game, well, not new, sorry, this new game, well, it is a new game. We talked about it before. It's from Nitro Plus. It's called Rusty Rabbit. It's a game about it is post-apocalyptic. They trigger a second ice age. Humanity's left the planet because they're like, we're done polluting this one. The next one will do better.
Yeah.
So they left. And then the animals and stuff kind of take their course, and then the next set of sentient being that has managed to evolve to that level are, well, rabbits in this world anyways. Now the concept and story is created by Gen Urobuchi, and for anyone who knows Gen's work, think Psychopaths and Madoka, for the truly cultured of us, think Sayano Uta, that guy wrote the story for this. So
Okay.
very intriguing for a I don't this is not an indie title. Like Nitro Plus is certainly an established company, but it's like indie game price, so I find that intriguing. It's like $20. And the main character will be voiced by Take Kuroda, who if you know, actually voices Kiryu from
Oh.
Like a Dragon. So we got this like Yakuza sounding rabbit in here. Let's take a look at the trailer. You'll see.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Let's check this out.
It's a fun one. I all eyes on this one. No, wrong
Nope.
game.
Yep.
There we go. All eyes on this one for me.
Sorry guys. This one's
Not
7
only
plus.
downers that NetEase is involved, but they bought Nitro Pass, so what are you gonna do?
Do y'all see that? This game is 7 plus. Okay. So sorry, all you 6-year-olds.
Yeah, no 6-year-olds allowed.
Rabbits? Yada yada.
Oh my god, they found the perfect person to voice the rabbit.
This I don't know what you're talking about. This is totally an upbeat. Yeah, this is a yeah.
The problem is that this is Gen Urobuchi, and
It's 7 plus. It's fine. So far, until you unlock the secret ending.
again, the problem is that this is Gen Urobuchi, so I don't trust him in writing a family-friendly plot. There's gotta be something in there, man. There's gotta be something in there. I would be surprised if there's. I mean, it's again. This is the guy who wrote like the Psychopaths screenplay.
Baku, perhaps you are too much of a degenerate to appreciate the
Wholesome.
yeah. Embrace the wholesome.
Embrace the wholesome.
Come on, it's okay, bud. Come to the embrace the light side. This is adorable.
I think this is pretty nice for the asking price. Like, this is definitely not AAA, and they know, and they're not asking for AAA
Are you sure?
price.
Look at the fur physics. That looks great. This is
The fur physics.
quadruple A. Look at that. He's fuzzy. How can you say that's not AAA? The texture.
Yeah. But it looks really good. It's got an all-star cast, and it's not like an arm and a leg. And this is coming out September 24th on PS5 and PC via Steam. So I'm actually really excited. I know it's like, why would you be excited about a bunny side-scrolling like platform kind of game? It's like, well,
Why
'cause
wouldn't you? Look at it.
I'm actually excited for this. So let's see.
Heckin' A. That's awesome, dude. Okay.
Mhm.
All right, moving along. We've got Metal Slug Tactics. It's a game
Mhm.
that's been floating around in limbo for some time, but it looks like it's finally gaining some traction.
Yeah.
It's a brand new Metal Slug game, but this time it's tactical.
Oh yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, I've seen this before. It looks so good.
So no
I've
run and gun. We don't have to play the whole thing, by the way. So that's 6 minutes, but we can watch some gameplay because we
Oh,
always
dear.
complain about not seeing gameplay, right? Well, this is a gameplay trailer. It's
Yeah.
all about gameplay. They're gonna explain all the gameplays.
See, I love the pixel art style of Metal Slug, and I always have. But like, I'm not a run and gun kind of player. So this one, I'm actually excited to maybe actually play this.
Give it a shot.
Yeah, because like it's
No pun intended. Hey,
Yeah.
hey, hey,
Yeah. Embrace the dad jokes.
I can be punny too, guys.
Oh man. But yeah, I like the fluidity of like the animation. Maximize synergies. What is this? A corporate boardroom meeting?
Synergy. I like the character designs. They're nice.
I was gonna say it's not just the pixel art that looks good.
Mm-hmm. Like the overall aesthetics, like everything makes sense together. Like the menu, the doesn't feel like it's out of place. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. Here, let me
We can take
skip
a
around
little-
a little.
Yeah, we can take. Oh, they're coming up with like some battle stuff.
Oh, okay.
Let me
I'm
see.
just thinking of like our audio only listeners. The stuff on screen is awesome, but like
Yeah.
musically, visually, yeah.
So there are like primary and secondary weapons that you can use. Like primary weapon does not have any like maybe it's just like a pistol or something.
Yeah.
Where there's like infinite amount of like ammo. But then there's secondary is kind of like your skill, and you have to like count your ammos. And depending on how you put your units together,
Yeah.
they can do kind of like combination attacks. They have special skills. You can use like special move like a air raid.
Yeah.
So like it's
Are they
all
fighting? Okay, I was gonna say, is that before it looked like one of them was a mummy? They're fighting mummies in the
I
middle
mean,
of
they're
it.
fighting mummies right now. Yeah, they got mummy dogs here.
That's... Oh, and
But, like-
I see. And they have prisoners of war that you need to like rescue and stuff. That's
Yeah.
kinda neat.
Just like the original game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they all
you-
look faithfully recreated, even though now they're no longer like it's not it, like the way you would have to design a character in a side scroller is different from how you would have to design them in isometric. And I think
Yes.
they've managed to thread that
They
needle
really nailed it.
really
Yeah.
well.
Yeah,
That has to be so tricky, you know?
I absolutely agree. And this is why after watching this, I'm super excited. Like it's super stylish. It's very faithful to the original game, and they did a really good job, like with the animation. And the battle seems like pretty intriguing too. The battle like mechanics.
Yeah.
So as a tactical fan, I am definitely gonna pick that up. Not just because it's first of all Metal Slug. I love playing Metal Slug, but even if not Metal Slug, I would consider picking this up just by virtue of it being a good game.
Man, this looks great. I mean, great.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think we can skip
Okay.
the rest. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we can skip the rest.
All right, we'll pause that because we actually almost watched the whole thing.
Almost. Oh, I skipped through a lot actually.
Oh, okay. Okay,
Yeah.
that's right.
Yeah.
Good. All right. So in that case, you want to take this? Oh yeah, you want to? Oh, I was going to finish out this one out. It is slated for fall of 2024, and it's coming out on all modern platforms. So
Yay.
If this
you don't
looked
have
cool to you?
think about yeah, you can just play on whatever you want.
yeah, yeah.
Maybe Steam Deck. I think this game would be pretty fun on Steam Deck.
I bet you're right. You know, especially because it's also got touchscreen, right? So
Mhm.
that might be useful to, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
All right, this next one, a lot of us are excited about. Square Enix just gave us the release date and more details on the newest mana entry after like 15 years. I think the last entry was like 15 years ago, which is
If we don't count
insane.
Trials of Mana remake, if we don't count
Oh
that,
yeah.
but
Like a new entry, I guess.
brand new.
Brand new entry. It's called Visions of Mana. Let's take a look at the launch trailer because I haven't seen the launch trailer. I've been saving this
Well,
reaction for now, actually.
Launch date trailer.
Launch date trailer, yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Let's check it out.
I've not seen this. And
You
for
haven't
those
seen
who-
this?
No,
Oh.
and the Mana series is one of my favorite series, although
know.
4 has been just such a traumatic experience that I'm a little weary of what they will do this time.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Because I swear
They never
if
made
they-
a fourth one.
If they pull that again, I am done with you, Square Enix.
There was Legend of Mana and then nothing else after that. Listen to
Legend
music.
of Mana and nothing else.
Listen to that music though.
Nothing else.
It is our duty, much as a soul
No, it
life
looks
to
really
use
good.
to protect us.
You hear that music though?
We all have
I
our
do, yeah.
individual roles to play, ways of life. All
I
of
am
these
kind of
affect the
glad
future.
that they are
I am proud to be
embracing
the bearer
what
of such an
works.
important mission
Like Trials of Mana
those who
is
make
like,
them
let's
after.
see what works. Let's see what the fan likes. And
I
then
don't
we
want to have to
respond
give
it.
all of this up.
Yeah.
Like, we really like
I
it.
want to keep
Here's the
living my
reason
life.
why. And they're like,
And now
okay,
that I've
got it.
realized
Let
that,
us try to
I know that what I
capture
really
that
want
and
is
come
to
up with a
stay
new
here and keep
title
making
that's not a
memories with
remake.
you.
It
And
does.
This is what it feels like.
I was gonna say it does seem like they're taking the storytelling element pretty seriously this time around. Like showing some cutscenes of people talking a lot and
5
There's-
playable characters.
It's my duty to protect
Ooh.
the alms from harm. Hina,
I wonder if that means 5 different storylines or if that's, one
don't
storyline, 5
think-
characters.
I don't think it's going to be like Trials of Mana kind of story. Like,
Okay.
all 5 of these characters will be in your roster, I feel like.
That would be
I don't
nice.
think you have to pick and choose.
Hey, it's a bunny. Is that the Yakuza bunny?
Is it a bunny?
Oh wait, no, it's a cat. It's a cat
Yeah.
boy.
I was about to
A
say.
cat
I'm
boy.
like,
I didn't know they made cat boys.
cat boys exist. They are real boys.
Oh, yeah. I guess you're right.
Alms are appointed, not requested. There's nothing I can do
There's
about
a
this.
little bit of like Legend of Mana kind of inspiration there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3-person party.
Switch out character. Oh, okay. So
Okay.
you get to control 3 at a time.
Yeah. Was that Flammy? Look in the back.
It's not Flummy, but it's the same kind of, yeah. It's not Flummy per se. They have a name. I don't remember the name, but it's not Flummy.
Mana Beast.
Sure. I don't know. In this world, like, they're like kind of like Chocobo. You know what I mean? Like,
Maybe. Yeah.
they're similar, but then like every series has a little different lore about them. If that makes sense.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Companion can assist.
They
Okay.
can like transform and stuff. They all have like they can all like morph, which is kind of cool. They got that Power Ranger thing going on there.
Yeah. Look at the.
Oh,
Ah,
look at
it's-
that.
Look at that.
Oh, the turtle is back! And he's swimming a lot faster than the predecessors.
Good.
Under ocean.
Ah, it's the little cacti.
we're all counting.
I'm
I
gonna
can't
day
remember
one
what it
this
was
game
called.
so hard. I'm gonna hard day one this.
Oh my god, I know.
I will day one the heck out of this.
Come on, don't give up.
2 years later, Visions
So
of Mana
no-
Definitive
so no
Edition.
clock changes, but
Created a better tomorrow.
you get to transform.
Oh man.
Protect the next generation. We will protect the Mana Tree. We will protect the entire world.
Protecting the world.
August 29.
Square Enix, don't fail me, Square Enix. I swear. Yeah. Anyways, this game, speaking of day oneing the game, this game is going to come out late August, in August 29th. of this year, releasing on PS4, PS5, Xbox Series, and also PC via Steam. No Switch, unfortunately, there. Now, here's a little bit of caveat there. PS4 version is physical version is only available in Europe. So I'm so sorry for those of you who are looking forward to a PS4 release in physical copy in North America. Is not going to be available. Only Europe.
Well,
But we do have PS5 and Xbox. So,
I was gonna say also
yeah.
PlayStation 4 is region free, so you can just order it out from Europe, I guess.
Yeah. Unless they're DLCs, then that makes it complicated.
Yeah.
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 Anyways, in addition to the standard edition, there will be a limited edition that contains a plush, a hardcover art book, a 5 CDs, OST set, and also the collector's edition box, all for the low price of $200. God. You know,
You're getting that one, right?
no, I'm not.
You sure?
I'm not paying $200 for an art book and a plush.
You
and
sure?
CDs that I would never listen to. Like,
I'll take the
no.
CDs if you do. Just saying.
I mean, I like having CDs in a case. It makes me feel a little sophisticated, but that's no, that's a hard pass. I feel
Fair
like
enough.
limited edition stuff, they're getting a little like uncreative with things.
It
The
does
plush is
seem.
fine,
It does
but
get a little samey.
yeah,
If
so
if it was like a vinyl, like the Final Fantasy Pixel remasters, oh yeah.
man, the packaging would be and the delivery would be a nightmare.
Pixel
logistic-
Remaster did it.
Yeah, and it was really expensive.
Yeah, it was. But then, that's the other thing is like they used to make different kinds of feelies for collectors. And like one of my favorites was the Lunar Silver Star story. No. Eternal Blue Complete. And that was a PlayStation disc, and it came with the PlayStation disc, but it also had in it a blooper CD as well as a CD for interviews and like the making of, which was pretty sick. And then inside of that, they also had a cloth map that you could pull out, and it was just the kind that would pull out and it would fold open twice, and that was really cool. So it was the making of, and then outtakes were at the end of the last disc, I think.
That's so cool.
But then they also had a soundtrack disc in there too. So it was a 4-disc set, but one of them was the soundtrack CD. And then also they had a Lucia's pendant, like an actual wearable metal like pendant that felt heavy in your hands. Like it felt like something. And it was so cool. I don't know how much it cost back in the day because I got mine secondhand, but dude, that was so cool. It was so cool. But
Guys, let us know in the comments, like, what are some really cool limited edition stuff that you've picked up over the years. Yeah,
dude, I'm gonna go get it. I'm pulling this out. I'm gonna go show you all right
now.
now.
I'll pull that out right now. Okay, Derek's gonna go pull it out.
That's right. That's right. I don't normally whip it out on stream, guys, but here's my copy of Lunar 2 Eternal Blue Complete.
Ooh, look at you. Look at you.
Oh man, I love this so much. Like it folds open, it's so you can like.
Yes. Oh, I miss case that do that.
Oh yeah.
That
So
was super
all right,
cool.
here's the contents.
Oh, look at all those.
Oh man, this is what I wish more game studios did these days. Okay, so here's the omake box, and inside of it they have all these like little standees. They're cardboard standees, but here's Lucia's pendant. Let's go ahead and pull this out. Oh yeah, look at this. This has some heft to it. Here, I don't know if you can hear that.
Cannot, but I believe you.
Okay, here.
It looks heavy. Yeah, there you go.
It is heavy. It it it's got copyright working designs on the back. It is beautiful.
Just so you're reminded that this is copyright.
Oh yeah, and here's that that map. It's folded up really. Oh man. So this one's actually not cloth. It was the first one that had a cloth map,
Okay.
but this one's, thick
Still
cardstock.
cool. Yeah.
Dude, it is so cool. And like you said, it feels like collector's editions these days. Like some people are starting to change it up, but for a while it was very by the numbers.
Very generic.
Here's a
Very fancy.
soundtrack. Here's an art book. By the
There's
way,
a poster.
oh yeah, here's the hardbound
Ooh,
book
that
that-
looks good.
I know. Like working designs, man. This is the manual. It's a leather bound manual, dude.
Manual.
It's
Be
not
sure
even.
to read this before
It's-
you turn on the game.
Yeah, it's not even the art book. It's just so classy. Everything about this. There's the soundtrack here, dude. Man, it's so cool. I love it. I wish more. And they did it in such a compact way, you know. And I'm looking up there at my, collector's edition box of Shin Megami Tensei 5, and it pales in comparison, really.
Oh wow.
And it's such a gigantic box in comparison too,
Yeah, I don't know what I almost want to take a look at like maybe the changes of these limited items over time would be interesting. Derek,
It would be very cool.
it would be a super cool video for Derek to make.
For if only somebody had the ability to do something like that. If only.
If only Derek could make that
Somebody
video.
somebody with a YouTube channel about RPGs and stuff. should-
Somebody. with a
Anyways,
YouTube channel about RPGs.
I'm sorry for that side quest there, guys. Let's go
else?
ahead and dive into our next topic here, which is
Yes.
a Lollipop Chainsaw remake that we covered some time ago. Finally has a trailer for us to check out.
Yes.
So, do you want to check it out now, or should we?
Yeah,
well,
let's take a look at the
okay.
trailer first.
All right, yeah, let's check this out because it's pretty exciting.
Lollipop Chainsaw. It's a thing that's coming back. And it's one of those like super outlandish
Suda 51, Suda 40,
Yeah.
yes, 51.
yeah. Outlandish Bayonetta almost.
It's
Almost.
kind of
In a
No
different
More
direction.
Heroes-y.
Over the top. Action. So this is just what they think America is like, you know?
Yeah, I mean
And
that was my
I
high
think-
school experience.
Yeah, totally. This is what the cheerleading team does. They swing around their chainsaws and kill zombies.
And pole dance, sure.
yeah, super American of them.
Pink hair, yep.
I just like that this is what Japan thinks America is like. I mean, I feel like they get some things right, but some things very, very wrong.
I don't
But
know
I
if
just
this
don't
is
have the heart to correct them on
Yeah.
any of these.
if I thought that America was like this, I would want to stay here. If this is what America was like, I would want to live here.
Yeah, with like Elvis Presley in impersonator
Yeah,
impersonator zombie.
that's cool. Giant one.
Yeah, giant ones. And I think
Oh
this
yeah,
is
and she
kind
has
of where
she has a
the-
head on her hip also. That's pretty cool.
That's her like undead boyfriend, I think.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's because he got bit, I think, or something. And before he turned, she chopped his head off to keep him from becoming a zombie himself.
And somehow kept it alive, but reasons.
I mean, hey, that's one way to get ahead in life. So
But,
this is meant to be the definitive version of the game with many quality of life improvements and new gameplay content. Notably, there will be an original mode with all of the blood and gore and a RePop mode that uses pop art for damage effects.
So basically, what we saw just now, without all the blood splatters, is just all these like colorful pops and stuff.
I see.
So for people who can't deal with like a lot of blood and gore, they can play that instead. You can just toggle it. So
Yeah. All right. Well,
what
anyways,
you want.
keep an eye out for it. It's coming out September 25th for PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series stuff, the Switch, and PC via Steam. And there is a physical edition of the game that will come in October.
Yes.
I wonder why they do that.
Probably logistic issues. I don't think
mean, why
I
not
don't
just-
think they're doing this on purpose.
Why not just launch in October? I feel like it would be perfect for an October like Halloween launch.
Mhm.
It'd be a perfect Halloween game.
That's a good question. I don't know.
Maybe it's so people
Why?
can play it when they're getting ready for the Halloween spirit. But then, like, if they launched on Halloween, they would have like one day, and they'd be like, "I'm kind of Halloweened out." maybe that's it. I don't know.
Could
I
be.
can't.
have
I
no
can't
idea.
imagine anybody ever being Halloweened out. But I imagine there's probably some people that might feel that way eventually.
Well, speaking of Halloween, let's move on to our next topic, which actually has nothing to do with Halloween,
All
other
right.
than the release date being near Halloween.
Ah.
Yeah, hey, Amazon Prime. Amazon announced that they will be adding the original Amazon Prime live action adaptation of Like a Dragon.
Holy moly!
Which has been really big news in like the weepdom. Yeah, the original series will contain 6 episodes in the run. 3 will be airing in October 25th, and 3 will be airing on November 1st. You see, right around Halloween. It's like right
Yeah.
before and right after, right?
That's so cool.
Yeah, so Like a Dragon or Yakuza already has a movie, but that movie was like not great. It's one of those like super bad is good kind of movie. It's like a
Okay.
Sharknado kind of movie. It's like low budget and it's like more of a parody than anything else. But this, supposedly, anyways, is supposed to be like a serious take on Like a Dragon. And
Yeah.
I feel like this has a much better chance of succeeding than some of these other stuff because there's nothing okay. Well, not literally, but there's no like supernatural elements in Like a Dragon.
Yeah.
It's very much just a Yakuza crime like story.
Yep.
I mean, of course, there are fairly outlandish, things that you wouldn't expect from real life. But at that point, it's more of an exaggeration than say purely magic or fantasy element, right? I mean, how Kiryu survives that many explosions and stabs and gunshots?
It makes him an action star. Typical
is-
action star stuff.
Yeah, it's an action movie at this point. So I think they stand a good chance of succeeding versus doing like sci-fi or other kind of fantasy work.
Yeah, I totally see this as being one of those franchises that is just ripe for an actual live action adaptation because it already felt so serious at times. At times, like it could have made for a really good drama. It felt like it was trying to kind of be, in some ways, a really good like crime drama.
Yeah.
But now it can be. But I do hope that it manages to keep some of its absurdism in some places.
Oh yeah,
Because I feel like that's
some of the
also
comedy.
that's got to be
right?
sort of I feel like that's a linchpin of it, at least from what I've played of Yakuza Like a Dragon. With Ichiban, Kasuga. So what I played with that, and I haven't played the others, but I have been told to play them.
Not asked, told.
I have been commanded, but I shall at some point.
Mhm.
But at least from what I played of this, it feels like that balance is
Mhm.
definitely, it's a careful balancing act with the Yakuza
Mhm.
series, so it has to be present.
Yeah, that's the part I'm worried about. Actually, like if they can pull that off, they're pretty golden.
Hmm.
Um, but they're going to upset some fans if they couldn't. It's either it's too goofy, like the existing movie, or it's too serious, and you're missing some of the fun stuff. That makes the Like a Dragon series what it really is.
And it's got to be
Um,
tricky because I feel like, of what I know of Kiryu,
mhm,
is he seems to be represented as a very serious person
mhm.
in a very not serious world.
That is exactly what it is. That is exactly what it is. Whenever, so like Japanese comedy. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people already know this, but the stand up comedy traditionally is called like a manzai act, and it usually consists of two people. Is usually like a two people act.
A
In
salt and pepper, if you
Yeah, in
will.
the in the West, of course, we used to stand up comedy, a stand up comedian being just like a single person,
Hmm.
right? Doing a lot of situational comedy. In Japan is usually a pair, and it's usually between a person called the boke and tsukomi. The boke is like kind of like the playing like the idiot, where
Hmm.
they just say like stupid things, and the
Yeah,
tsukomi is the straight man,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
So
Kind of an
in
Albert and Costello sort of deal, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And Kiryu is basically the straight man in this world, even though he will do some silly things too every now and then, where he just gets like carried into a situation. And that I think there was this like one side story where he was asked to like do some like modeling photos, and then as he goes in, first it was like okay, but then like as the ass keeps on getting weirder and weirder, like he just kind of goes along with it until it gets to the point where like okay, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. But before that he was kind of going along with it and
Yeah,
just like going along with the ride. So that's the kind of comedy that I'm hoping to see from the show, where he basically plays the straight man, but gets pulled into weird situation and sort of maintains that like composure throughout,
it's
and
got to
that's where the
happen.
fun comes in.
It's
Yeah.
got to happen at least for a few minutes every show. For if I mean, that's what it feels like the balance is, or
Hmm.
yeah, at least. But
Yeah.
that's really exciting, and I knew that you would want to talk about this one too, because you've been a fan of Yakuza since, as I mean, the entire time I've known you, anyway.
Yeah, I think I didn't play the like original. I started when they came out with Yakuza 0, and then my friend convinced me to play it after showing me the cabaret minigame, of which I played like maybe 7 hours at his place, just
Uh-huh.
sitting there playing the cabaret game. And then I'm like, okay, you know what? That's it. I need my own version. And I just never went back, man. Like it's just been a ride from 0 to all the way to I finished the latest main title game, which is like the eighth game, if you will. Um, and it's been like an emotional roller coaster, like every one of them,
Dang.
with all the frustrations and drama and laughters, and you really grow to love the characters. It's insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, but I would highly recommend anyone, Derek, who's not played the game series, to give it a try.
So,
So I'm asking so nicely. I'm not commanding. Not at all. I'm just
oh,
guilt tripping
yeah, it's
a little
different.
bit.
Coercion is the word you're looking for.
Coercion.
Okay. Well, all right. Let's go ahead and move on to one more. We have one more piece of industry news to talk about, and
Yes.
I did touch on some of the results very specifically from a very specific perspective in JRPG Weekly Update. But we wanted to take a kind of a broader look at what's going on in this Capcom survey results for their
Yes.
super election survey.
Yes.
So I'll go ahead and share my screen here, and we can start taking a look at this together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, we
I
got.
feel like they did this right. Look how
Yeah.
fun this is.
I agree. Here, let me
Like,
refresh
this
the
is
page
really
because
fun.
just to make it here. Here's how fun it is. Look at that. It's
The
so much fun.
balloons and all.
Yeah, they got the little celebration going on. So there were 254,000 participants in this survey, which is pretty dang sweet.
Yeah.
And we picked out some questions that we got responses for that would I thought make for some pretty interesting conversation. So we're gonna go ahead and
Yeah.
scroll around here.
Yeah. Just scrolling down some general, demographic information.
Yeah, this was interesting. So Japan made up 21% of respondents, and the U.S. made up 28% of their respondents, and then
Yeah.
and then
Good job, guys. We
Brazil.
showed up and we partied.
Brazil came in third, which was kind of surprised me. But I mean,
11%. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, man, it's wild. And then
I'm telling you, man, like Latin America, kind of like gaming culture it's accelerating. The market is booming. You guys may not know this, but some of the top Twitch view like streamers are Latin American. And the reason why you may not know them is because they just speak Spanish. It's a huge and growing market down there.
yeah, so yeah, what was this? I don't even remember what this was at the very top.
Oh, this is just like to number one. Hey, scroll down a little bit.
Okay, scroll down a little bit further. Here we
Yeah,
go.
there you go.
Sure.
Question 1.
What Capcom games do you like the best?
Yeah.
Well, I gotta say, I do really enjoy Devil May Cry, and I never played any of Dino Crisis at all.
Dino Crisis is like a PS1 title, and they only ever came out with like 1 or 2 games, I think.
Yeah, it didn't get very much, but I think it was kind of a spin-off of the Resident Evil series, as I
No.
understand it. Or,
No.
or not, maybe not spin-off, but very similar in some ways.
Similar, yeah. I think they use like the same kind of like game engine. They just, instead of zombie, you're killing dinosaurs. That's
Yeah.
basically it. It's like Jurassic Park, except you get to fight back.
Yeah. So we had some really good showings here, I think, overall for, Okami coming in here at number 5 with
Yeah.
8,000 votes. And
Monster
then
Hunter not getting higher spots is actually the surprising thing for me.
that is pretty interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's Monster Hunter World. So this is the question again was, what games do you like the best?
Yeah. And there are
Wow.
limited choices, so it's not like a free form, like, you just pick. But look at number 10. Look at you.
Look at
Some
that.
people think Breath of Fire is the best Capcom game.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, games
Yeah.
that you like the best. And I could totally see Breath of Fire 3 securing that spot. There were several selections available, and the fact that they made top 10, I mean, sure, there are 9 other games ahead of it, but the fact that it ranked at all is, pretty good accomplishment, I'd say.
Yeah.
So we have some
scroll down a
additional
bit.
details down here further on, kind of giving us a breakdown of like those, what they are by region.
Japan likes Okami way more than we do, apparently.
I mean, it kind of makes
They
sense.
don't care about Dino Crisis at all. It's not even up there. Plus, it's number 2.
Yeah.
We have very different tastes. They like Phoenix Wright. I mean, not that we don't like Phoenix Wright, but it's just not like ranking.
Look at that.
know?
Mega Man Legends in Japan coming up at right behind Breath of Fire 3.
Yeah.
So
It doesn't even rank. Our taste in game is couldn't be more different. Look at it.
I know. They're so much more cultured than we are.
We like zombies a lot more, it seems. They're
It
like
might seem that way.
5
yeah.
of those games are Resident Evil on the top 10.
So that was Japan versus the world, but also we have some changes from a male to female perspective as well.
Yes.
Here's one.
Everyone likes Devil May Cry, apparently.
Apparently.
Yeah.
And what's Toare no Puruma?
No idea.
Oh yeah, but the gals like that one.
Yeah.
That's cool. And then Breath of Fire 3, baby, making number 10 for us boys. Girls don't care so much about Breath of Fire 3, but
Yeah.
That's all right.
I do like that they share these data. Like they ask the question and they share the data. Like, what's the demographic like? And I think it's interesting. I like looking at these kind of things. Like,
Yeah.
not just financial records, but like statistics and it's fun. It's fun to look. And this is definitely statistically significant.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So yeah, this is an interesting finding.
But look at what came up here at number 3 for us 30-year-olds. Look at that. Breath of Fire.
Breath of Fire.
A real strong showing there. It's not on the. It didn't crack the top 10 for anybody else, but it kind of makes sense. When
you look at the overall performance,
it's
doing better than Mega Man at to a degree.
Yeah, look at that. Yeah. Us 30-year-olds, we like Dino Crisis, Okami, Breath of Fire 3, but then
Dino Crisis is surprising to me.
Yeah, I don't know. Were they hacked? Did one person who played Dino Crisis back on PlayStation be like, you know what? Let's just force Capcom's hand.
No, I think a lot of people have asked Capcom to do Dino Crisis, just like people have asked Square Enix to do Parasite Eve. Like it's about the same kind of
same vibes. Yeah,
same vibe. Yeah,
I think that's a good point.
It's one of those things that they never touched again, and people really want to see like a new take on it.
What is really interesting is that as number 3 on the list in our core demographic here, I mean, statistically, most of us are within that 30s range here as well. What's really interesting about this, to my eye, is that it's been a long time since a good Breath of Fire title was released on any modern platform. The last Breath of Fire 3 was on PSP, which was like mid 2000s. So if we go from there, that was like 20 years ago. So it's no wonder that people in their 10 to 20s haven't ranked a Breath of Fire game, because they haven't played one.
That's true. But they also have Dino Crisis, so that's interesting.
Yeah, but it's also much lower, and also it's got a cool name.
The fact that it ranks at all, again, just surprising to me for 10 to 20s.
And then the older folk, they also just really love Dino Crisis, Okami, and then Phoenix Wright, which is interesting. I
didn't imagine 50, 60-year-old playing Dino Crisis, but okay.
Yeah.
That's
huh.
Reminds them the good old days of hunting those mutant dinosaurs.
It's probably also got something to do with like not having to require super good reaction time, maybe.
I mean, when they played it, they weren't 50, 60, so
it's true. It's true.
They were in their 30s probably.
Yeah. All right.
Want to move over to question 2?
Yeah, question 2. What do we got?
I don't think we have to look through all of it.
No.
Yeah.
Question 2. Your favorite Capcom character. Yeah.
Dante, man. Dante's is carrying.
I mean, look at that silver fox. Of course he was gonna win. Of course he was gonna win. Yeah. He's so handsome.
Look at that demon.
And then we also got Leon Kennedy and X.
X making number 3 is surprising to me. X is a different character than
Mega Man.
Man, yeah. So yeah. But if you combine their votes, if people treat them like it's a single entity, that's 18,000.
Yeah, that would be still third place.
Number 3.
So yeah, turns out Leon and Dante, they got 1 and 2 on lockdown. Yeah. And it was pretty close too. They were only a couple thousand away from each other. So.
I voted for X, so I feel vindicated that we are at number 3. I'll take number 3.
And poor Aramatsu from Okami coming in at number 10.
Jill's not doing too bad for herself,
But where's
Regina, by the way, is Dino Crisis.
Yeah. Where is Ryu? Not
No, no.
I'm
no.
Breath of Fire Ryu. Anyways,
No.
let's look at Japan versus the world. I don't know. Every time I say Japan versus the world, I keep thinking
everyone likes Dante.
Yeah. Everybody.
Everyone likes Leon Kennedy,
Yep. Yep.
but only the West like X. Like Japan does not care for Mega Man
I
X
feel a
at
little.
all.
I do take it a little personally that I don't see. We got Miles Edgeworth here.
Yeah.
We got Miles Edgeworth, but where is Larry Butts? Okay,
Mm-mm.
I feel personally
Unfortunately.
insulted by the lack of Larry Butts in here.
Unfortunately, did not make it to the list.
We did get. Oh, you know what? I know what happened. I know what happened. You see this?
Miles Edgelord's here.
Look, number 8, number 10.
Mm-hmm.
We got Ryu, but
Yes.
it's the wrong Ryu. I think they were trying to vote for the Breath of Fire Ryu, but that's the thing.
Simply pick the wrong character.
But for real, they had a bunch of different Ryus available. For each, they didn't just count like Ryu from like Breath of Fire 1 through 6 as like, I mean, sorry,
Yeah, but they're different
1 through 4,
incarnations, though.
right?
It's just like Mega Man.
I know,
They have
but here's the
different version.
but here's what I'm saying is Ryu from Street Fighter 2 is the same Ryu as Street Fighter 3, 4, 5, on and on. It's the same dude. He's been in so many games. Same with Dante and these guys. These all got multiple appearances in multiple games.
So you're saying it's not fair, right?
Yeah.
They should keep the same. They should keep the same dude
This-
for Breath of Fire from now on.
I'm
Is
just
that it?
saying what they need to do is divide the number of responses by the number of entries they've gotten.
Oh my god.
I've figured out a way to game the system, fellas. Let's go. Let's do it. You got to make it fair. I want votes per game, okay?
Shaking my
Votes per
head.
appearance. Suddenly Dante, divide. Let's see. Dante's got how many
5
games does he bet? 5 games.
Yes.
Oh, so that's like putting him at about 500 votes for Japan and 5,000 for. Oh, that puts him well behind. Oh wait, no, because X has 3 or
X
4,
has a
right?
lot of games.
So let's keep
X
going.
has
Let's
like
keep going.
10
Mega Man doesn't
Or
even
8
rank
games.
anymore. Suddenly he's just disappeared.
Yeah.
Feline
Regina actually is ranking quite a bit higher now.
from the Dino
because
Crisis.
I think there are only 2 games if you want to do it that way.
Let's do it that way.
Yeah.
I'm making my own results here with blackjack and hookers.
Want to move to Q3 probably?
Oh, sure, yeah. Otherwise, we could spend all day looking over
We can
these.
spend all day with the fine details. Yeah.
All right. Yep.
move to
Blah blah blah
Q3.
blah 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 blah.
Q3, what do you look for? You skipped it.
Oh wait, yep, there
Yeah.
it is.
I think Q3 is like one of those boring questions.
What do you look
Wh-
for in Capcom games?
Yeah. Like, okay.
I mean, yeah, they're all
Eh.
kind of like good things.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think the main point is that people care a lot about gameplay. I mean, if you look at the chart to your top, yeah, right there,
yeah.
you see that like gameplay is the big thing.
Mm-hmm. And
The
graphics
and
are
worldview, like so graphic and story worldview, like that's like takes like a slightly backseat, but gameplay.
yeah. It
gameplay
doesn't
is-
feel like they had equally chosen options available.
Yeah.
It feels very much like a foregone conclusion. Like what's important in the games? Like it's kind of
Yeah. And that's why I say it's not exactly an interesting question. Q4 is also not interesting. In fact, Q4 is even worse.
I know. What image
What
do you have
image
of
do you have
Capcom?
Creative spirit. Okay, buddy.
Yeah, Capcom's that girlfriend who's like, tell me nice things about
Yeah.
me.
Which of these 10 nice things do you think about? Let's associate the most.
Yep. Let's see. Moving on to
Q5. Yeah,
5
Q5
here.
is interesting. Q5 is good. What
Yeah.
do we want to see as a sequel or a new game? Dino Crisis #1, hands down. They want a new Dino Crisis.
I think
So-
that bodes pretty well for Dino Crisis.
What about the other dragon?
Let's see. Dino Crisis. I think that bodes well for that. Mega
People
Man.
miss Mega Man.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
they haven't had a real entry in a long time. Because I think
No, they had one on the Switch. I mean, it's still quite a bit, but I mean, the Switch has been out for a while. Oh my god,
yeah.
they have one on the Switch. Yeah.
Okay, because the last one I was thinking of was Mega Man 9 on the WiiWare, and that's been a while. So I didn't know if that was it. But Devil May Cry series, that'd be interesting.
Mhm.
Darkstalkers, Capcom versus series,
Oh
Okami,
my god, yeah. I want to see the Darkstalkers
Onimusha.
come back.
Onimusha would be nice.
Vampire Savior, that's the other title. Darkstalker and Vampire Savior is the same. It's just different name, like Japan versus the
Oh,
West.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And
Mega Man
then
11 came out in 2018, so there's that.
okay.
Yeah.
So then yeah, top score here got 80,000, which is
Mhm.
pretty good. Breath of Fire pulling in about half that.
Yeah, it's commendable. Like
Honestly,
people
it's not
do
bad.
want to see Breath of Fire.
They do.
Yeah.
And I'm one of them. Yep.
They want to see Onimusha, which is
Dude.
pretty interesting.
Oh yeah.
Like I'm looking at all the games that they don't currently do, right? So Ace Attorney, they make Ace Attorney.
Yeah.
Versus series, they make versus series. Okami, I don't remember the last Okami, but okay. Resident Evil, definitely like an active ongoing series.
I feel like there was an Okami on Switch also. But maybe that was just a remake.
I think it was a remaster kind
Yeah,
of thing.
that's
It's not
possible.
like a new game. But like the ones who are really dead, Onimusha, Dino Crisis, Breath of Fire, those are like dead series. Like they have not had a new game in a long time. So that to me is way more interesting
Yeah.
of a finding.
Polling of Breath of Fire for Japan increases pretty significantly here to over 50%. And well, let's see, kind of drops to about a third in the US.
Yeah.
But Onimusha polling really well here as well. And it's not even on their list in Japan. That's
Jeez.
interesting.
I would love to see Square Enix try to do a poll like this.
Oh gosh, that
I
they
would
should,
love to
honestly.
see them do a poll like this.
Yeah, they really should. But hey, Breath of Fire showed up over here for the gals at number 10 and at number 9 for the boys.
Yeah.
So that's cool. All right. So
yeah.
top 3 by generation. Oh yeah, Breath of Fire holding up number 3 again. for the generation that matters.
The generation that matters.
Oh man. So should we skip ahead to 6?
Yeah.
All right. What's number 6 here? Completely remade with the latest technology. Number 1 coming in with 90,000 votes is not in here. None of the above.
None of the above. None of the choices you gave me makes sense. But
But
look, Breath of Fire is number 3.
Yeah. With a third of the votes which is actually, I think, pretty significant.
Yeah.
Statistically significant.
Oh yeah, it absolutely is.
Because like not in here could be like just any number of things.
Yeah.
And so we have two responses here that are actually like really important. And
Onimusha.
Yep, Onimusha
And Breath of Fire.
Yes. And it says specifically remade with the latest technology, Onimusha 1, 2, and 3, and Breath of Fire 1, 2, and 3.
I'm surprised Dino Crisis didn't show up here. Can you scroll down a bit?
Sure. Rival
Schools. God, I think I know what not in here is now.
Oh,
not in here is Dino Crisis. People clearly wanted a new Dino Crisis from all the other ones, so I can infer that at least not an insignificant amount of that 87,000 is probably Dino Crisis.
Yeah,
not all of it, but probably a good chunk of it was Dino Crisis.
It would be really cool to see Breath of Fire, but I would personally want to see Breath of Fire 1, 2, 3, and 4. But yeah. Anyways, so yeah, again, not in here is just the catch-all that whatever voting thing that the voters wanted was just not available to be selected.
Yeah, the choices are not there. Basically. Yeah.
Moving on further down. Not in here is cleaning up.
I mean, it's universal. Everyone just feels like this question. I mean, that just means that this question was not asked well. Like the choices presented didn't match with what people want to see.
Yeah.
Onimusha and Breath of Fire is pretty consistent, though.
Yeah, they're pretty high up on that rank, but clearly there's something that's not being represented
here. Is interesting. That's a title I've not heard in a long time.
Yeah, that's another fighting game,
states
right?
in Japan. Yeah. Wow.
Gargoyle's
A new rival
Quest.
school would be cool.
Okay. How did this place in Japan or in the US in the world?
No idea.
Nichijirocho no
No
Kiseki.
Kiseki. Maybe troll votes. I have no idea.
Maybe I don't know.
Want to skip ahead again?
Sure.
Oh,
Down to
no, we already did.
okay.
Yeah.
Question 7.
What's the first
Capcom
game?
games. Oh yeah, the first that you've played,
Mm-hmm.
Mega Man. I'm not surprised by that at all. Because I was thinking that was probably the first that I ever played. Except it was it might have been Little Nemo Dream Master on the NES. It might have been that instead. But yeah, Mega Man and then Street Fighter coming in at number 2 with Resident
Fighter
Evil
2.
trailing. Yeah, Street Fighter 2 because that was an arcade game. You didn't have to have a specific console to play Street Fighter 2 back in
And
the
it's
day.
the first like actual like fighting game as we know it, Street Fighter. The first one was not. The first one I think is like a brawling. Like,
Look at that. Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo coming in at number 10 with another
a separate
5,000
game.
votes. Yep.
Yeah.
But if you had added those 5,000 votes to this one, it'd have been number 1.
Easily, yeah.
And who knows for real if the first arcade game, did they play Street Fighter 2 or did they play Street Fighter 2 Turbo? Who could say for certain?
I mean, Turbo 2 is when it became like
Really good.
real competitive. Like, you know, that's
Yeah.
where the gameplay really kicked in. So
Yeah, for sure.
the real ones know it's all about the Turbo 2.
Yep. So here's the main difference between the world and Japan. Mega Man coming up at the top in the world, but in Japan it was Street Fighter, which is pretty surprising. Ghost and Goblins finally rank in here for a
At
bunch
all.
of. Yeah, this was.
Yeah.
I was surprised I didn't see more of that
Mm-hmm.
because that was a really great classic series back in the day.
It's seen a revival, actually.
Yeah. Literally, even I think that they have a remake called Revival.
Pun unintended. I didn't know that.
And then Boys and Girls, Phoenix Wright, I'm not that surprised.
A lot of Street Fighter 2.
A lot of Street
For
Fighter
both.
2.
Yeah.
Yep. So
Resident Evil. Wow. Okay.
yeah. And by generation, I guess this is kind of an interesting one to look at because 1942 for the older folks here in their 50s and 60s. Ghost
Nowhere
and
else has
Goblins.
this game been mentioned.
I know.
Anywhere else is here.
Nobody wants a remake of it. Nobody.
Oh,
it's not their
no.
favorite, but it was definitely the first one they played.
Yeah, they're like, it was okay.
Commando, Savage Bees.
Savage Bees, not the Savage Bees.
But yeah, in the younger generation, I guess the Resident Evil, is kind of a big one for them. Resident Evil 4 specifically.
Mega Man X making it for number 4 for them is surprising. And Mega
Yeah.
Man, for that matter.
It does seem a little anachronistic, doesn't it?
Yeah. And Resident Evil. Holy crap. I
Yeah.
didn't think that they'd be old enough to play those as their first title, but here we are.
Yeah, right.
Probably
Alright.
Gen X parents like throwing the console at them, be like, "Here, this is what I played when I was a kid."
I mean, that's what I would do. Just
Yeah.
here, play what I played. Be like
Yeah,
me.
play what I played.
Let me live vicariously through you. This is why I'm not a parent.
What game has influenced you the most? I think I picked Resident Evil. Not
Would ya?
4, like the base one.
Yeah.
'Cause that was like the first horror game that I played as a person.
I legit think it was Breath of Fire 1 for me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, it was one of the first Capcom games RPGs that I played when I was looking for a bunch of RPGs to play. And I loved the visuals, and I think it just drew me ever further into the RPG genre where I am today. I'm still stuck here.
I've lost many nights of sleep playing Resident Evil. As a small child.
Man, I
was
could
a small
never.
child. I think I was like 12 at that point.
I mean, that's still
Still,
a child. You were just a large child by that point.
I like many nights of nightmares.
These are some pretty interesting results.
Yeah.
Was there any other really interesting questions?
Number 9 is still good, and number 10 is bleh.
Okay.
Any
All right.
complaints?
Complaints. Reboot IPs.
Reboot IPs.
With 100,000
not
votes.
even close. It's not even close. The number one thing people want from Capcom is give us more things from your
And
IPs.
number 2 is no complaints. So it's like this doesn't even exist really.
Yeah.
Like this is just whatever. And then
whatever.
slow release of new numbered titles. Like, oh yeah, I guess that kind of counts for Breath of Fire also.
Number 5, who complains about number 5? Too many sales? You don't want it. Too many sales! You're doing too many discounts. Stop it!
Yeah, I feel like that's a garbage vote. Like,
Yeah. Ugh. What a
too many
waste.
sales. It's kind of like say, and who made that even an option to put on there? Capcom back patting themselves on the back. We're too generous. Oh my gosh, I can't believe how generous we are with all of our sales.
Ugh. But number 7's interesting. I didn't think 7 would rank so low compared to other
7.
things.
Not
Not sequels, but new IPs. So like people
Oh,
don't
yeah.
care for them to do too many new IPs right now. In fact, if you compared 1 and 7,
Oh yeah.
yeah, scroll up a bit.
Yep.
Yeah,
100,000.
Reboot previous IP, which is directly contradiction to not only sequels but also new IP.
Yeah.
So reboot previous IP versus new IP. People pick reboot IPs.
Oh yeah. Yeah, like 10 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that. I believe
Yeah.
that wholeheartedly. You know, I have some interesting observations interacting with like the RPG community pretty often, and that is that like I people complain about reboots and remakes, but also when it comes to a game that they really liked, they want a reboot and a remake.
Number 8.
Or sometimes people say I want a game that does something new and different, and then something new and different comes out and they're like, oh, this looks boring.
Number 8, becoming very mellow recently. What does that even mean?
They gotten lame. They lost
You
their
guys got
edge.
mellow, man.
Yeah, you're too mellow, bro.
Yeah, so some of these are silly, but I think number 1 for 7 is like the big takeaway is
Yeah,
people by and large want to see reboot of their previous IPs. They actually don't care about new IP as much as we may think.
yeah. Nobody really wants anything new. We like reruns. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
So-
yeah. Number 10 is just like a BS question.
Yeah,
It
what was
like,
number 10?
How satisfied are you with us? And
Oh yeah.
whatever.
Oh yeah.
No one
Okay,
cares.
here I'll
Yeah.
share one more time. Okay.
Yeah, it's
just to be fair,
Yeah.
we
Would you
welcome
support
all of your.
Capcom?
I don't know. It depends on how Capcom behaves.
I picked number 2.
Yeah. So did I.
I mean, you could turn into a Square Enix. I don't know.
I mean, it's kind of like. I mean, no, 800.
No. I hate you so much. I gotta voice my opinion here. Oh boy. Yeah. So isn't that fun? I think the main takeaway is this. If you are a person who has been really waiting for a Breath of Fire, we may see one. It's not the highest ranking, but if you look at the overall performance of the votes, it's pretty good. I'd say it's like probably top 5 contender of like a new game, especially because people want to see reboots of OIP. So if that's their number 1 want, then we have to look at what are the OIPs as in
Yeah.
things that they haven't done in a while. So Onimusha, Dino Crisis, Breath of Fire, those are my like top 3 contenders, I think, for things they have not done in a while that people seem to really want to see as a new reboot.
Yeah, like when I was initially looking over all of these, it struck me as like, Breath of Fire did well, but like when looked at it on an individual by individual basis, it looks like Breath of Fire ranked pretty low. Like, oh, these are my favorite games, Breath of
Mhm.
Fire is like number 10. So that means like maybe Capcom would have 9 other games they might draw from for, scratching this particular itch. But
Mhm.
when it comes to like you said, the big thing is people want reboots and remakes.
Mhm.
And then that one is like one of the only ones on the list that ranked consistently well,
Yeah.
besides Dino Crisis, that is ripe for a remake and a reboot. This is
Onimusha. That's Onimusha.
that too.
We haven't
And
had Onimusha since what, PS2, PS3, I want
yeah,
to say PS3.
Oni Onimusha Tactics.
Oh, that does not count. That's a silly spin-off. That does not count.
Okay.
Yeah, but like a mainline battle kind of game.
Well, we did get an enhanced port of Onimusha.
Yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't quite
Mm.
scratch that itch. It is not a remake with full graphics of the modern era,
They just want a new game or something, something brand new, not a remaster. Don't just touch up the graphics and like make us pay for it again. Like give us something new for these IPs.
Yeah.
So we'll keep the IP, but give me something new based off of it, is what people are saying, I think. Like Breath of Fire, don't just remake the first one and call it a day. Like, I mean, it could be that too, but what I'd like to see is you take that world, that what makes that IP, and you make something new with it. Same
Mhm.
thing with Dino Crisis. It's not necessarily just like, oh, just remake the first one and we're good. Like, no, take that world, take the characters, give me a new game,
Yeah.
right? So,
All right. Well, let's go ahead and move on to responding to some of the super chats that have been streaming in throughout the day's show.
okay.
Uh, Kicking us off here, we got Still Alive, who says, "Here's a question I just asked the GameFAQs switchboard. How do you usually feel when a game isn't really hooking you, and then someone tells you, 'Bro, just hang in there. It gets good after X number of hours.'" Well,
Huh.
I mean, so here I have experienced it where games do eventually get really good after several hours.
Yeah.
Um and I guess I mean, I'm guilty of this too. Not just with games, but also anime. Like
Mm-hmm.
Hunter x Hunter does not end the same way that it begins.
Mm-hmm.
Like it begins very mellow, very slice of life, and eventually it ramps up and builds and builds and builds and becomes something monstrous by the end.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it for that.
Mm-hmm.
Trails in the Sky is another example of a very similar, starts off very mellow slice of life, but builds and it builds and it builds on itself. Um, but the thing is, sometimes in like an anime, building up can take place over the course of like, 3 or 4 or 5 episodes. And then by that point, you're 2.5 hours invested, maybe less, honestly. Each episode's 20 minutes now.
Mm-hmm. After
So
all the commercials and recaps and
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like maybe 15 minutes of actual watchable content per anime. Um, so so I guess that the amount of investment time for an anime to get good is a lot lower than expecting someone to play 10, 15, 20 hours of like a slice of life sort of, we're doing chores together and this
Yep.
is fun and it's
Let's
telling a
do some
nice
side
story.
quests.
And then after 20 hours it's like, oh my god, what just happened? Like I get that.
Mhm.
um and sometimes like it's just a matter of I don't know, like I am guilty of this myself, of saying, trails in the sky, a lot of people, this is and the reason I keep bringing this up is because I feel like this is almost a question tailored for the Trails in the Sky conundrum
Mhm.
about like, where do you start Trails? And every time anybody mentions starting somewhere other than Sky, you can hear people pulling their pitchforks out of 1,000 sheds across the world. And I really hate that about the fandom, honestly.
Mhm.
But the fact of the matter is, starting with Sky is the best, and it leads into an incredible experience that ultimately is very different from how Sky starts. And that is kind of the only real complaint that I can actually levy against the Trails series at this point, you
Mhm.
know? Is that it does take a little longer than I would like to start
It's a
up.
slow build. It's a slow build up, right?
But once you're invested in I mean, because you've played it, once you're invested in it, it does feel worthwhile. Like it was all working towards something. Um, but I don't know about other games.
Hmm.
I don't feel like some like prior to this, it was the Persona series that made you play a whole 5 hours
Oh,
before you got into a
jeez.
combat. That was like that was the bane of my existence back in the
Hmm.
day. It was like, oh my god, I'm gonna start a Persona game, and then and that used to be like the milestone for like this is how rough a start can be. But
Hmm.
then, but here's the thing. Trails is it starts off as a slice of life that becomes a really incredible shonen,
Hmm.
but not everybody who likes shonen likes slice of life. So it's like, I don't know how I would respond to that in general, unless I
Yeah.
knew for sure that it was eventually going to turn into something I liked. Um, it's a tough pill to swallow. It's a hard ask. What do you think, Baku?
Um, I mean, this is why like trusted review matters because, and it's not like a movie critic or a book critic, right? Because the level of commitment that you need to spend on it. So, for example, a book, if you don't care, you could jump pages and start reading something down and then come back. You can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. For a game, you can't just do that. You can't be playing a JRPG. You're like 15 hours in, you're not feeling it. You can't just let me skip to like hour 30 and be like, let me just take a peek at it. And you can watch a YouTube video, you can watch Let's Play, but it doesn't work the same way, right? Because again, you play the game. Playing matters, interaction matters, right?
Yeah.
Movie, same deal. Like movie, anime, if you're watching first 1 or 2 episodes of like an anime, you're not feeling it, you can skip to episode 6 and be like, okay, does it really pick up? Because if it does, I'll go back and watch the rest of it, maybe, right?
Yeah.
You may not do that personally. You might not be your strat, but at least it's an option. You can't do that with JRPG. So that's why, I think trusted review matters. Finding people who have similar tastes as you and seeing what they say can give you some sense of what it is. And if those people who genuinely like the same game as you say, hey, this is a slow build, it will get better, then yeah, sure, maybe invest a little bit more time. Otherwise, maybe don't. Because for every hour that you're wasting on this game that ends up taking you nowhere, it's an hour that you could be spending on a game that would take you somewhere. Maybe that's the challenge, right? So that's what
Yeah.
I recommend. Finding people who have trusted reviews and just like don't base your entire decision based on what they say, but use it to your advantage. Like here's someone who likes similar things, they've finished it, they have something good to say, so maybe I can put a little bit more weight on like actually waiting for it to get good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Snapple Rai Rai 89 says, "Hey Derek, haven't been to this channel in what feels like forever, but I wanted to leave some support for some super old
Hey,
time's sake. Glad to see you're both doing well and keep up the good work."
we are doing fantastic, thank you.
Yeah.
Hope you're doing well as well.
Yeah, thank you so much. Um, Next, we got one here from Fluffy Dogs who says, "Our armor weakens over time. There's nothing wrong with either of you." Talking about the
Yes, yes,
mental
yes, yes,
and
yes, yes.
emotional shielding.
Uh, okay,
That's good to hear.
so you know how there's this thing that people say that like men are not like fully mentally mature until they hit about 26.
Is that what they say?
Oh, like mentally and emotionally.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I feel like that might be part of the consequences. Like we're not really building or viewing a world a certain way until we hit that certain age, and then you add a couple more years to that and then you're like, oh geez, like this experience is getting to me. I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's bad. Nor do I think do I know how valid that is. But I feel like the two are somewhat connected.
You might be right,
Yeah,
because it did just like get worse over time.
it does.
or
It
or
does.
better, or however, I don't know, depends
Yeah,
on
I
how you
don't
view it,
remember
I guess.
listening to a song get choked up on it. Like that happens to me now. I'm like, what is wrong with me? Like, what is going on? How am I feeling this emotional over a piece of music?
Oh man,
That's
oh I know.
not a thing.
I think the first time a song ever choked me up was oh god, it's called "Where Could My Baby Be," and it was a cover by Pearl Jam. uh
Oh,
it's
okay.
a beautiful song, but
Hmm.
kind of sad.
Yeah.
So next up, if you can survive the first cave in Lunar Silver Star story, you can make it through Elden Ring uh, at Erdtree Games.
Oh my god.
Dude,
Thank you.
yeah, Silver Star story complete. That first cave was something.
Something.
I can hear the enemies going "Arr" from across the screen all the way over here, man.
Is this scaling issue? Is that it? It's like
Yeah, yeah.
really bad difficulty spike.
It's I mean, it's the first cave. And all these monsters are just like they rush you from across the room. You can't get away from them.
Oh god.
And yeah, and they're not exactly the easiest thing.
Uh,
I think Vic Ireland of Working Designs, he might have tweaked the difficulty on that.
oh no.
I mean, Working Designs kind of is infamous for doing that.
Mhm.
But yeah, it might be a thing.
Might have added an extra zero behind some of the stats unintentionally.
Sure, let's call it unintentional.
Yeah.
Um, next, Fluffy says, if let's see. Speaking of bunnies, are you getting Bunny Garden?
Oh god. That
What?
that is directed to me. Yeah, see, Derek has no idea. And only this is how you know who is a true degenerate. Because
Should I?
I know exactly what you're talking about, and Derek has absolutely no idea what Bunny Garden is. And the
I
answer is how bold of you to assume that I haven't gotten it already.
I
I
just
I
Googled it. Should I? I should probably Google this later when I'm
yeah.
alone.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. There's nothing, too
No,
yeah. I mean, people have
no.
streamed it, so it's not like
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
However, it is definitely a more questionable, borderline, maybe not okay. Yeah.
How many folks dropped the bag on that collector's edition? Fluffy says, I'm in. Oh,
What, the
man.
Luna one?
Oh, no. I think they were talking about
Oh,
the trials, or
Visions of
Visions
Mana?
of Mana. Yeah,
Yeah,
Visions.
no to that one for me personally. Yeah.
I mean, are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
Are you thinking about it? Oh, yeah,
No.
because you didn't love the contents of the collector's edition,
Yeah,
though.
to pertain to an okay, so the game, let's say the game is $70. Let's say the game is $70, $130. What am I getting for $130? I'm getting a hardcover art book, which is about $30. Okay.
Sure.
I'm getting a plush and
And
I'm
they give
getting
those.
five CDs.
I was gonna say, for a plush, they give those out at like state fairs
Yeah.
for pennies. You know.
Yeah. They're made in China and they can be made very cheaply. And what, like a custom box. So most of the money is just a CD.
Yeah.
Like 100 and let's say $100, $110 worth for CD. That no, I don't want to pay $110 for an OST that I've not even heard.
I was gonna say, did you know that CD burners exist?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know.
Anyway, no to
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Um, if let's see. Yep. If you're going to day one the heck out of Visions of Mana Baku, you may
Mhm.
want to get 4 PlayStation 5 controllers charged and ready to swap out every 2 hours.
Is it because it's an action game? It burns like the battery a lot faster because you're
I
doing so many
guess.
inputs.
See, that's the thing. This is how I play all of my games right now. This is my controller. It's just plugged in.
Permanently.
There's no such thing for me as a wireless controller. My PlayStation 5, by the way, is downstairs in my server room where my computer is in order to
Oh.
keep the heat out of my office.
Mhm.
It's down there. I have in the Bluetooth will not reach. So I've run a USB extension cable up through the floor and I
Mhm.
plug into it. And so it's
Oh,
just all
wow.
that's how I do it. This is how I roll. I don't need wireless controllers, guys.
So I have 3 PS5 controllers, short of the 4, but I will manage, I think, maybe.
I have
Um,
two, and one of them is still in its box because I had to get two when I bought the PS5
oh,
because it was bundled.
the
I
I
should
also
sell
do
it.
remote play, which I really like. Like remote play is really good. So I have a gaming laptop upstairs, and I'll do remote play. And since I play a lot of like turn-based games, like it doesn't matter. And the latency is pretty low anyway, but you know, you definitely cannot play rhythm game.
Mhm.
Absolutely will not be able to play rhythm game with the latency. Action game maybe, but turn-based is really easy to play turn-based off of remote play on a laptop. So my PS5 sits in the basement. I'm 2 floors up, playing off my laptop. It just works. And I love it.
You know what really is weirding me out though, the more I think about it?
Mhm.
Um, my PlayStation 5 controller, so you know how at the bottom they have these little contacts for charging and stuff?
Mhm.
Mine shocks me every once in a while. I don't know. Is that a common thing? Does that happen to anybody else?
That's never happened to me, but if
Like I
it
had to put
happens to you,
I had to put electrical tape over those contacts because it kept like I kept picking the controller up and I'd be like a little like what the
do you get crazy sweaty gamer hands? Is that it?
no.
I mean, even then,
Especially
it's
now that I put my computer and the PS5 in a completely different section of the house. Like
mhm.
my office is like nice and cool. I even have a dedicated like air conditioner just in case. Um, but my hands don't actually get sweaty. It's
Okay.
nice.
So it's not that. Yeah,
No,
I don't know, man. That's crazy.
I think it might just be shoddy electrical in my house. I live in a 1950s home, so it's
I mean,
probably it.
either that or maybe the controller's just faulty and it's gonna shock the living crap out of you.
Oh, it's not doing it now. I got that electrical tape over it. Just gotta. Anyway, um, Still Alive goes on to say, do either of you have any tips to calm down your gamer rage and anger when you reach a frustrating part in a game? Other than get good, I mean. Um,
Walk away. Walk
bro,
away.
have you seen me? Have you seen me rage? I might
Well,
have
have
raged a
you?
time or
Well,
two.
have you?
I might have raged a time or two. It doesn't happen very frequently. I
Mhm.
think the last time I raged was oh man. I wish we were on Twitch right now because I know my Twitch stream could remind me of the last time I raged.
Mhm.
Um oh man. I know that Kingdom Hearts had some like chain of
Kingdom Hearts. Oh,
chain of memories
mhm.
had some really rage inducing moments for me.
Okay.
Oh my god.
Well, Quest 64,
No,
65,
no.
Quest
Quest
60.
64 it's Quest 64 was easy enough. It was fine. Um Arc-Rise Fantasia might have
Oh,
had
Price
some
Fantasia. Yes.
yeah, but there was some confounding variables with that one.
Mhm.
Um anyways, ways that I deal with my gamer rage is to, you know, disengage for a little bit, come back later, take a
Mhm.
walk, breathe,
Yeah.
and then maybe watch somebody else, watch a YouTube video. I just shift my attention to something else.
Mhm.
Because if something's making you mad, it's gonna make you worse. That's the thing. The madder you get, the duller witted your mind becomes.
Yes.
Um, and that's just good general life advice. If something's making you angry, turn it off. Get rid of it.
Mhm.
At least like if like social media, for instance, I don't do that.
Yeah.
Except for
Remove yourself
this.
from the
This is
situation.
this is
Yeah.
YouTube is my exception to my social media disengagement. Um, and begrudgingly sometimes I use Reddit too. Um,
Oh, well, I like Reddit. most of the time.
I liked it better when it had moderators.
Oh yeah,
uh,
yeah. I
but
still hate that was the move.
I know it's so stupid.
It is so
Um,
stupid.
but yeah, just if something makes you angry, like if it depending on what it is, if it's making you angry because it's putting bad things into your life, get rid of it. If it's
Mhm.
making you frustrated, put it down for a while, come back when you're, freshly rested, fresh mind, and then try again. You'll probably find that you have a better time, after some sleep. But yeah,
Yeah.
life is a garden, and not only do you need to dig it, you need to weed it sometimes.
Yeah, it's true. And remember, you can't lose, but you can't get rid of temper by losing it.
That's right. I don't know what that. Oh, I see. That's a
Dad
that's
jokes.
that's a pretty good pun.
That was a good one, right? Yeah.
That was pretty good.
I
Next
forgot
up,
where I learned that. Okay.
Fluffy says, "Where is the complete Trails collection? Didn't Japan get one recently? I remember a topic on HitPoint in 2013. Also, blah blah blah. Breath of Fire. Just take my money." Well, I think we were talking about maybe not a complete collection, but at some point I thought they were talking about maybe remaking Trails in the Sky. I don't know. Um, a complete collection.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I mean, if you want a complete collection, you're stuck doing it on Steam at this point, I think. A manual collector's edition, if you will. You pulling anything up?
No, I don't see anything.
Well, if you heard about it on HitPoint in 2023, I don't know. We were young and different back then, acting fast and loose with our I don't know. I'm just kidding. I'm just making excuses. I don't know, man.
Don't.
Doesn't ring any bells.
There's a 1 to 4 collection.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a 1 to 4 complete box. So
Okay.
So there's a Trails Cold Steel 1 to 4 collection box with Reverie, like in a same thing. So 5 games collection box. That's the thing.
Oh, yes. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, Japan got that one though. That was a Japan exclusive, right?
Yeah,
Because
so for anyone who's wondering what that is, this is the Kiseki box. 5 games.
yeah, the
in a
Kiseki
collection.
box. Yeah, and they would not be able to do that in the United States because of the rights holders for distribution in the West are different between Cold Steel 1 and 2, which is Xseed, and Cold Steel 3 and 4, which is Nisa. So so there's
Yeah.
no way to package those together in the United States at this time.
Not this neatly.
Yeah. So Steam.
Sad.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I think I know what you were asking about. That's what we're asking about.
Let's see. Fluffy says, "Was Dominion in charge of reporting the Capcom voting data? Something seems off." No.
Be careful, man. Dominion might sue you.
Oh man,
That defamation suit's coming, sir.
Oh man. Geez. Let's see. Breath of Fire 1 through 2, or 1 and 2 with an HD 2D treatment, while Breath of Fire 3 and 4 get a remaster modern console. Make it happen. Oh yeah, and a new Breath of Fire entry. That would be ideal.
That would be every Breath of Fire fan's like dream would be to see that.
Yeah. Dude, I think the retranslation alone for Breath of Fire 1 and 2 would just be so killer.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like those two in particular have a really, really rough. I mean, the first one barely had any text at all. So even though it was localized by Squaresoft, I think that they were just dealing with a massively constrained like amount of ROM chips that they were able to work with. So like, yeah, so that's part of it. And then Breath of Fire 2 was localized by Capcom, and they had a much bigger script that time around, but they just were not. Maybe Squaresoft was charging by the word. Maybe that's why it was so brief in the first one, and why they chose to go their own route in two. But two was so rough. So yeah, those localizations alone, and then modern remasters of 3 and 4 would be incredible, dude. Especially like add widescreen support, give it proper scaling. That'd be really nice. And then maybe some rebalances.
If only.
Let's see. And at what point does a needed investment transform into a sunk cost fallacy?
What is that a reference to?
I don't even know. Geez. But it's a good question. Okay. It was in relates to
Okay.
And relates to playing a game and getting invested in the game. Not a monetary investment, but a commitment investment into getting into a game or a series or something. At what point does needed investment transform into a sunk cost? When you realize that that it doesn't in fact get good.
when all indicator tells you that it will not be better, and you still decide to go on because you have already spent so much on it, that's where the sunk cost fallacy kicks in.
And they're not mutually exclusive conditions. It could be that the sunk cost fallacy drives you further until it does get good, and then in retrospect it looks it was all worthwhile in hindsight, and you can say, those costs weren't sunk in fact. So and maybe that's
no
part
costs
of it.
were sunk in this process.
Exactly. So it's like, it's all a matter of perspective, and if you give up or not. I guess if you give up, then those costs were sunk. But hey, you might have enjoyed the game and gotten all the way to the end and then realized that you were too strong, and then you quit playing the game. Does that mean that the whole rest of the game that you were playing is a sunk cost at that point?
Right.
Like, it's so, I don't know. It's a matter of perspective and how it worked out in the end, I guess. Like, I think in this specific case, do the ends justify the means?
Hindsight's 2020.
Maybe. It's tricky. It's an interesting question. Have we been streaming for? Yes, this episode's gone longer.
It is now 10:30. That's insane.
How did this happen? Baku, we started this day, we're like, I don't know, there wasn't really much to talk about.
No, you know what? It's the Capcom. It's the Capcom. We went through all the Capcom stuff, and
That's
that took
true.
a little bit of time.
That did take some time. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Time really did get away from us. But if you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to give it a like or a thumbs up on whatever podcasting platform of choice you're listening on or watching on. It really does help the channel expand our dominion.
Yes.
Soon
Tell
we'll be able to take
YouTube
over the
this is
world.
awesome.
And if we do take over the world, there will be more Breath of Fire in it for you all. But until then, guys, have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a great day, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Ba-da-ba.